What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited you are here. We're gonna learn together. This is the Tarver Academy Summer Professional Development. We're gonna learn. Learning's happening. It's going down today. We're about to get started. My name is Tyler. I run Tarver Academy. It's an online resource for teachers and students and educators, and it's a great community where people just get involved and learn and get better, and I throw resources to you guys, throw ideas around. It's just a lot of fun. Just a whole lot of fun, Tarver Academy. So if you need anything, I'm here. TarverAcademy.com has a ton of resources and things that you can go to check out. A little bit about me, just so you know, you don't think I'm just like, hey, here's a random YouTuber talking about, videos or whatever. My name's Tyler. I started out teaching high school math, and then I moved into a tech director / facilitator role. Then I was a principal of a school 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade. Fun ages. That's good stuff, okay? Good stuff. Never any drama, 6th through 12th grade. No drama. And our school had waivers from the state, so we did a lot of online, we did a lot of blended, we did a lot of in-person learning, all the above. So we get to learn a lot, make some mistakes, do some stuff right, and try to learn from everything we did. Then after that, I went to central office, and I was director of curriculum instruction, and now I'm the dean of NLC College. And I'm so excited to be here, learning and growing with you guys. I'm also giving a little bit of time for people to jump in, get started, and we're about to go through some of the housekeeping stuff. We're gonna do a little check-in right now at the beginning, and then at the end of this video, at the end of this training, we're going to have a chance for you to get a certificate showing that you actually showed up and you did the learning, okay? I think that this training and the other trainings that you are gonna get the chance to be a part of this summer are gonna help you grow as an educator. And if you grow as an educator, all it does is help the students and the community that you live in. And so let's try our best to learn something, take something away from this that we can put in our repertoire and get better with. Okay, so the first thing I need you guys to do is I need us to check in, okay? And this check-in, what it does is it timestamps when you are here so that you might not need this later, but if your administrator or whoever comes back and they're like, how do I know you didn't just click to the end? This shows that you were here at the beginning. So you can scan the QR code that is on the screen if you have your cell phone. And on my phone with me, get your phone out. I'll use my wallet, Atlanta Braves wallet. Film that, you just hold your phone over that QR code that you see on the screen. You'll see something pop up at the top. Click that and it'll take you to where you can fill out that you were here. It's very short, very quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead, scan the QR code, go to the website, check in, and when you do that, you will get an email. If you do not get an email immediately, this happened, I told you, I was a tech director for a long time, okay? I'd say a long time. I was a tech director long enough to know that if you don't get that email that you're filling out right now, it's because you typed your email address in wrong. That's exactly what happens. 19 times out of 19 and a half times, that's what happens. So go ahead and go to that. Remember, at the end of this session, there's gonna be another QR code that you're gonna scan that is going to give you the certification saying that you actually did the training. Both of these are time-stamped. So if your administrator or whoever's in charge of PD for your district wants to see that and be like, how do I know you did this? You've got your check-in email that is time-stamped by me, not by you. It's into a PDF or it's into that email. And then you will also have the timestamp on your certificate showing that you did this. Okay, so hopefully everybody is getting that done. Okay, giving you a little bit of time. If you have any trouble, just keep trying because I think it's pretty important to get that logged in. Now, while we're doing that, if you're finishing that up, or if you can hear me, what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to hit the red subscribe button. This is my YouTube channel, Tarver Academy. That's what I call it. It's kind of where I got this started. I had this before I had the website, and then I put up the website to put all the resources and all the stuff I was doing. But if you would hit the red subscribe button right now, that would be huge. That would be just super cool of you. And that way, you can hopefully see some of the other trainings that I'm doing, see some videos I do throughout the year to help teachers, to help students, to have fun and learn together. So hit that red subscribe button. Did you do it? Did you? You get the like too, the little thumbs up. That's just YouTube etiquette. You hit the thumbs up. It's just really nice to do. So you want to hit the thumbs up button, you can. And I would love to start this. How about this? in the chat, okay? Because if you're watching this on my website, which is where you can watch it, that's fine. You're not gonna see the chat, but if you click and watch this on YouTube, you're gonna see a chat rolling on the side of the screen. Start it off. I want you guys in the chat to say who you are, like give your name, tell us what you teach and where you teach, okay? If you're an administrator, you can say that I'm a principal, or you can say your central office, whatever you do. I've got some people that have signed up for this that are aspiring educators. So this is great to say, I want to be an educator, I want to be an English teacher for high school, throw that in there. If you want to be a kindergarten teacher, toss that in there, say you're in school. It's a great way to network, because I think there is an amazing community of educators here wanting to learn and grow together. And I think that it's great if we look out for each other. So throw in the chat, I want you to say your name, what you teach, and where you teach. Throw that in the chat. All right, man, we're doing good. We're doing good. It's our warm up. We're feeling good. We're stretching it out. It's always good to stretch before you stretch. I don't know, I heard some friends say that, so I say it from time to time. Okay, next thing. This is another little thing. I've got one right here. So I've written a couple books. I've done Superheroes Need Sleep Too. This is a children's book. It's like a nap time book, so you don't have to read that. But this one I think is super relevant for you. This is the Baller Teacher Playbook, and in it I have like practical advice. It's 18 chapters. So the idea is that you could do this like once a week with your team for a full semester, or every other week for a year, and try to improve your teaching every week. I'm not doing this to sell it to you. I'm doing this to say I'm giving some of these away all summer to people that are participating in this. So if you want a chance to win one of these, or I think I probably got some other educator books. If you're like, I don't really want your book, Tyler, I got a ton of educator books. I'll send them to you. All you got to do, follow me on Instagram at Tyler Tarver. Follow me at Tyler Tarver on Instagram, and I will. I'm going to be giving these out throughout the summer. You might be the person I give it to. So follow me on Instagram, and then throw some in your Instagram story if you want. Just increase your chances of me seeing it. So I'm just going to be clicking through. I see people follow on Instagram. I'm going to throw out stuff to them. So random people will get it. You might not, but you won't if you don't. So there we go. Y'all feeling good? Does everybody feel good? Everybody throw in the chat who they are, where they teach, what they teach. Okay, so to explain also what this is, you are watching, this is a live broadcast. So this is going as a YouTube premiere or a full-on live video. So one of the two. Either way, that chat is happening live. Everybody that jumps into this video at any point is gonna be watching it at the same time as you. So it's great to get in the chat and talk, discuss, ask questions, give input. If we ask a question in the video, you can type it in your notes, but you can also type it in the chat. You can copy paste from the chat. It's a great way for you to be a part of this live broadcast, okay? So if you have a Google Notes, if you have a notes document, if you wanna take notes by hand, I've got a template for notes if you want. It sent it to you whenever you filled out your email. It should have been on that page whenever you did your check-in at the beginning. If not, it's on like every PD page. I have my website, tarveracademy.com. Click on PD and you get a free notes template, or you can take notes in your own doc. However you want to do it, take notes, write down stuff that's relevant to you, and copy paste stuff that people put in the chat. There's gonna be people in the chat that are way smarter than me. And so I'd love for you to copy paste that into the notes, and you can take that and make your teaching game elevate. So next thing, while we're getting logged in, people are still jumping in here. They're still jumping in the video, giving you a few minutes to do that. We're also, if you want to watch these videos, because after this ends, it's going to be gone off of here. However, I'm going to be putting all of these trainings, all like 30 something trainings. I think it's over like 120 hours worth of trainings. I'm putting all of that for people that join what I call the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's a small group of educators who are trying to get better every week, and I send out weekly emails during the school year to where you're getting templates, you're getting resources, back to school starter kits, you're getting templates for Google Forms, trainings, PDs, tons of stuff every single week delivered to your inbox. And also you have access to all of these trainings. That is available if you go to tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to. I think it's a great decision. It's a great decision. Nobody's in here. Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to anybody. Okay, y'all feel good? Y'all ready to start? Y'all feel good? This is a little warm up, a little explain what's going on. Everybody feel good? 1 to 10, put in the chat how you feel today. Or give me this. How about this? Give me an emoji of how you're feeling today. That'd be better. 1 to 10, or give me an emoji. I'd love to see it. Or just give me a word. You're like, I don't want to do an emoji. Give me a word. How you feeling today? And let's get rolling. Remember, input in the chat. Take notes. Learn. Grow. Welcome to the best professional development that you're gonna do. Not guaranteed, but it's an opinion, but it's also true, but it might be biased, but it's gonna be a great summer. It's gonna be a great training. Hope you guys learn something. Hope this adds you value that you can then bring to your students and make your school, your community, yourself better in some way. Guys, we're about to get started. Y'all excited? Y'all ready? About to do this. Let's get ready to learn and have fun. Tarver Academy. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it. Let's go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for coming to this session. This is Teacher Mental Health Best Practices. I hope that this is a peaceful session for you. I hope that it is encouraging. I hope you take a lot of notes. If you need any notes, you know I've got them at tarveracademy.com. I've got a template for you to take notes, things you can actually put into practice and take from here. So I appreciate all the teachers. I texted this out on my text list, and a lot of people threw in questions, and that's where we kind of generated a lot of these questions from, especially in the first session with Dr. Atkinson. Just kind of give you the flow of how everything's going to go. For the first good portion, I'm talking with my good friend, Dr. Kevin Atkinson, and he is a licensed therapist. He does everything that there is to know about, not everything there's stuff that he doesn't know, but a ton of stuff that he does is to help people who are dealing with high stress jobs, high anxiety jobs. And we know education is one of those. Like, we have so much responsibility on us, and it's increasingly rigorous of an education. I don't know how else to say it. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's like, that's a lot. Remember that from TikTok? No? Okay. So here's kind of the flow of how today's going to go. It's going to start out, it's very conversational. It's very much like I've got some questions from you guys, questions I had, and then questions that my speakers brought in. But for the first portion, about 60% of today's talk is a conversation with myself and Dr. Kevin Atkinson, and he's going to talk through some ideas, some tips, some places to get resources, to get help, things to recognize if there's issues with you or your students or someone you know or care about. So I would love if you would just get a notepad or get something to type on and find a way to record some of the stuff that he's going to talk to us about today. And then the second speaker I have is my good friend, Lindsay Fell. Lindsay is an educator extraordinaire. She's an Apple Distinguished Educator. She's so knowledgeable. She is one of the most introspective people. Like, she genuinely puts so much thought into everything she does. And she kind of built out some common questions, things she's run into, things that she's seen other educators run into. And we just kind of talked through, as two educators, ways that we deal with this, and then how we cope with all of the stresses that are on educators today, because we know there are plenty of stresses on us as educators. Throughout the entire presentation, I've tried to add in several breaks. I've got, some where I toss in a break and it's just like me introducing it, and then it's just kind of some TikToks or some Instagrams, stuff that I've done that can just kind of be light, because I know a lot of this conversation is pretty heavy and it's pretty deep. So I tried to put as many breaks as I could in there. Got a couple promos for some things that I have, like my book and like the On a Roll and stuff like that. But I try to put a lot of breaks in there where you could take a rest, reflect. You can put me on mute whenever I'm on the break. I've got a timer on there so you know how much time you have. You can use that time. You don't have to listen to me. I've got stuff on there so you can get value out of it if you watch. But really, I put the timer on there so that you could rest, relax, and maybe step out, get some water, some coffee, whatever you need, to come back and re-energized to hear the next portion of the session. So we're going to start with Dr. Kevin Atkinson, and then we're going to roll into Lindsay Fell, and her and I are going to talk about some things that we do as educators to help us. And so I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get a lot out of it. I hope it helps you, and it gives you the tools you need to grow in some areas that maybe you were neglecting. And so thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that it's a great day joining us for PD Tarver Academy. What's up? Okay, let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to Teacher Mental Health Best Practices. While I do not, I was going to make a joke and say I consider myself an expert. I'm not. But I do have friends who are experts. And so one of my friends, his name is Dr. Kevin Atkinson. He lives in Arkansas. He is a professional counselor. He is the guy who knows the answers to the things that I have questions to. And so anytime anybody asks me something and I'm like, this is well above my pay grade, I would recommend they talk to him. So he was kind enough to come on here and chat with us. We're going to throw some questions at him. Actually, a lot of these questions I asked to my text thread that I have, and a lot of these are from teachers, administrators from around the world. But I'm going to let Kevin, Dr. Atkinson, introduce himself first. Tell him a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure, man. First of all, thanks for having me. I really hope we can, help somebody today through this conversation. But I just love hanging out with you and love being a part of anything that you've got going. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to just talk with you for a few minutes. I'm Kevin, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist here in Arkansas. And so I've been practicing in this area for, I can't believe it, almost 20 years. It feels like I just graduated high school yesterday, but I did not. So, I've been in this area for a couple of decades and kind of started in addiction treatment, and then decided I think I want to do this a little bit more in depth. And so I went to grad school and finished that whole thing, and then got licensed in the state and was part of several outpatient behavioral health units. And then as of late, I've been working with our local hospital here, who's also connected to the Mayo Clinic. Because of that, we have a psychiatry residency. And so I've been teaching young docs about therapy, because they have to, as a psychiatry resident, they have to know therapy. So it's kind of what I've been doing, just been involved in mostly in that particular scene. So hospitals, residential, and outpatient behavioral health. And I really like it. And I'm also a pastor here in Arkansas. And so if you hear me say a few things that kind of sound that direction, that's why. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Love it. That's great. So again, thankful that you're here, and thankful you're willing to add your expertise to a profession that, I think it's been growing in the stress, anxiety, like we're seeing more and more of that. But I know definitely over the past year and a half, especially with the pandemic and, people, teachers trying to work from home, and you go from, one teacher managing, 30 or 150 students in one facility, and now they're remote and because of the pandemic. So it's like now you have 100 different facilities you're trying to teach from. And it's just been, a strange experience, to say the least. And I know that teachers want to do a good job. They want to help their students. And so them feeling like they're not doing that as good as they normally can has been very stressful. So the first question that we received, we could jump right in. It was, someone asked, what are some indicators that we should look for to see if we're actually reaching a breaking point? If we're teaching and we're like, okay, what should I see is like, because, in your own head, you just think you're doing this, but you don't realize you're reaching the end of that line. What are some indicators you would recommend?
Well, I would say that, if we talked about this from a biomedical model, man, you're looking at every single person's body responds differently to stress and tells them, hey, I'm getting anxious, or I'm getting burnout, or I'm reaching a point to where I feel like my executive functioning is just not as well as it used to be. And maybe they sense efficiency kind of dropping. They're not as sharp as they used to be. All those things, or if I would call them symptoms, are going to be different for every single person. So you got to know your body well, and don't be afraid to have that conversation with yourself. These are things that are not working well. Let me give you an example of that. Oftentimes when you go to your PCP, you can walk in to that and you can say something like, Doc, I'm just not feeling like myself. Well, that sounds so broad, but to your doctor, you're communicating something's wrong and that you're listening to your body. And so I would encourage, no matter what the occupation, to know when you're not well, when you're not feeling well, when you feel off your game. But those can play out in a lot of different ways, Tyler. So you've got, sometimes stress can appear as a mild form of depression or anxiety. So you've got things that can range from being nauseous to lack of sleep to lack of energy, to lack of having interest, or you lose joy. It's called anhedonia, where you just kind of lose your sense of happiness, just overall pleasure kind of dials down. Those are things that are always going to lead and indicate to, hey, I'm reaching a wall here. So I think a way of recognizing that, if you journal, to write that stuff down, that's a good way for your doctor or therapist to recognize duration and frequency. Or in a more common way of saying that is how long this has been happening, and when it does happen, how long does it last? And then you can bring that to your doctor when you talk to them, if it gets to that particular point. But I think you've just got to be very self-aware of your body and how it's telling you that you're kind of stressed. So,
yeah. And yeah, I think you may have just said it. So if I do, like, say I know I'm like, okay, I've been journaling, or I've been, reflecting on this, I think I'm reaching a breaking point. What are their next steps? What do you recommend they do?
I think that would depend on severity. Some people can self adjust. They can make, let me give you the mildest versions first. So some people can self adjust, and they can say, well, I'm gonna start eating better. I'm gonna sleep more. I'm gonna get the exercise that brings some of my chemicals back into proper alignment. Some people need to go talk to somebody, and I think if we can say this early on in this talk, is therapy is becoming, less stereotype, and is becoming something that's very common and normal. I have a therapist, so I think everybody needs somebody that they can go and just process with. So if you reach that level where you feel like your self-adjustments aren't working and you want to take it to another place, you can start with a therapist. I think sometimes going to see your PCP is great. Getting blood work done, making sure that everything from a biological standpoint is fine, because there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of times that the body's doing something that affects our mental health. And once you address it physically, it goes away on the mental health side of things. Also, I think the biggest swing of that would be that you get psychiatry involved. Like you've tried therapy, you've tried self adjustments, but now you need something just to get you over the hump and get you back into a regular routine of health. And psychiatry is great for that.
That's good. That's good. That's exactly what I was going to say as my answer, word for word almost.
I saw it.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So the next question was, I was going to ask this, do you have a lot of teachers that come and see you? Do you have any educators?
Yeah. And, I would say that we don't necessarily treat educators differently, because each one of them are going to respond to stress or life circumstances differently. So there's not a specialty for dealing just with educators. It's more the outcomes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you do see educators, because this next question wouldn't be as relevant. It just says, what are some of the most common issues that teachers that you have seen?
Mm-hmm. I think we probably saw more people in 2020 that were in these types of roles where things drastically changed for them.
Yeah.
Like their job stayed, they still had high levels of expectations, but the way they did work completely changed. We saw a lot of that. So in that group were educators.
Yes.
I would say big question marks. Things like, how much more of this can I take? High levels of anxiety, a lot of depression and depressive type symptoms, a lot of people considering career advice. I don't even know if this should be said out loud, but a lot of educators in 2020 were considering a career change.
No, that's actually been a huge conversation with a lot of teachers. I've
Okay.
seen a lot of educators that have been teachers for a long time just be like, nope, I'm
Yep.
doing something else. So
Okay.
yeah, you can say it because
Okay.
people think it.
Okay, then I will say I can't put a stat to it, but I will say a lot of them that came in were considering how can I take the education and skill set that I've developed educating and turn that into a different career. Um, and so I think there was just a lot of uneasiness, just a generalized anxiety among educators, especially this past year. It was terrible.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mhm.
So what the next question someone had was, what are some, and again, you've touched on this a little bit with, different things, but what are some daily routines or habits that educators can do to reduce some of that stress or any other issues? I know you mentioned some like, getting enough sleep, exercising, eating better, that kind of stuff. And then also journaling. Are there any other habits you recommend? Is there like a thing during my prep period I should do like every day at a certain routine?
Oh,
Any thoughts?
you're opening up this big can for me, Tyler.
Why is
This
that?
this is just what I love talking about this part. So I may get long winded on
Please.
let me say this. I'm from a holistic approach. It's where I am with training. It's where I am with practice. I just believe in a holistic approach, and so we can't just treat, the brain. You've got to treat the whole body. And so my definition of the mind, and I use this example sometimes, is imagine like a 3-bedroom house that has a common area, like a living room. And in each of those bedrooms, you've got one entity or one component of who you are in that. For example, in one bedroom would be the body, which includes the brain. The brain and the mind are two different things. So the body and brain would live in one. The spirit would live in another room. The spirit would be the emotional construct. It would be like where your emotions come from. And then, of course, since I'm a holistic thinker, I think the soul is in the other room. And when they all converge into the living room, they become the mind. And so you can't have a healthy mind and just medicate it, or you can't have a healthy mind and just exercise. You've got to have healthy soul, healthy emotions, healthy body, brain to have a sound mind and a balanced body. And so the question is, what are some daily routines or habits? The first one is obvious. You got to have a routine or a habit. So if you're that person who's just so caught up in work and family and the routine and surviving and just trying to get from where your feet hit the floor to getting back in bed the next night, you need to pause and take some time for you and develop a routine or a habit that can greatly impact your life. So if that means eating better, if that means exercising, if it means getting back in touch with your caregivers, with your medical caregivers, if that means pouring into your life, some of you may be completely empty because you've exhausted yourself and you just need to get back into reading and journaling and filling yourself with good stuff and getting into a habit of being positive. And so you got to turn that. And so I always talk about journaling, meditation, yoga, self-care, exercise, going at least once a year. If you're over the age of 50, you need to go 2 times a year to your doctor to have blood work done. Just make sure that you're sleeping well. There's all kinds of technology and tools now to help us get to sleep better, know our sleeping patterns, adjust those sleeping patterns. And that's very important, man, when it comes to cortisol levels, hormone leveling, and those types of things. So you got to take a minute and get into and design, customize a routine that works for you and improves your daily life.
That's good. And have you read the book Atomic Habits by
Yes.
James Clear?
Yeah.
So, and he talks about, it's like in that he talks about his more like accomplishment, like you want to accomplish certain things, either like a physical goal, or you want to write a book, or whatever it is. And it talks about you create these small, it's about consistency, not about like, you don't, I want to get stronger. You go work out for 6 hours one day and you don't do anything for a month. Like, and that's how we treat so much of our life. And it seems like that's what you're saying is like, if you want to see these different rooms improve, you have to figure out, okay, yes, I want this to be my end goal, but I can't get there in a week. I need to do it every day for however long. So I think that's excellent.
Yeah. And a slow burn process,
slow burn.
Slow burn. I had a professor one time who used to challenge us. Keep in mind, we were mid-20s by this point, and he would challenge us every day when you get up, make your bed. And he said, I learned that from the military because something got accomplished, a goal was met, and it was done because you decided to do it. And so he would say, find that one thing, find that something that you can start the day with that's a small win for you, and make that part of your routine. So I thought that was good.
That is good. I think I've heard that somewhere. It might have been from you, but I've heard that too. And it's like we have these tasks we want to finish every day, and it's like that's one, boom, right off the bat, easy to do. And you made the choice to do it. It's almost like you not only controlled like, that situation, but like your mind. You like, I chose to do this and I did it. Because there's a lot of stuff in my mind I talk myself out of. Like, I'm going to go work out. And then I like, you know what? I want to sleep in a little bit longer. You know what I mean? And my brain always talks me out of it. Okay. So this next question is from an educator out of Texas. They submitted it. It says, how do we turn it off so we can balance it all? I don't know how to shut off my brain when I get home. I feel like I neglect myself, my family, if they're not thinking of like work with their students. It's hard for them to make that transition. So any thoughts or advice on teachers trying to do that?
Yeah. Well, the first one is you can't turn it off. In terms of your thought life is continual. That's why you dream at night. The brain doesn't stop. So what we always talk about when we start a process with someone who may have obsessive thoughts, or they have thoughts that they feel like they can't escape from, is to have a purposeful distraction. Come home and purposefully find something that your mind can do to shift gears. It's got to be told and taught to change gears. And so those neural pathways become so routine, and they're so powerful that they get you from point A to point B so quickly that you can easily fall back to thinking about a student or a scenario or a task that you've got to take care of. But it doesn't shut off. You've got to intentionally build a shutdown routine. To give you an example, I was working with a patient one time who just started off talking about just obsessive compulsive type behaviors. And we simply started putting in place every single day a kind of a shutdown process. As she would leave work, she would do certain things. So, computer goes down, desk is cleaned up, something gets put away. Again, you're telling the mind it's time to shift. And just doing those small things and processes started to lead her into being able to let go of one thing and grasp the other. So, you have to think of it much like a trapeze. There's a time where you're letting go of one thing and grabbing the other and making that new swing. So you can't just shut it off. You've got to do something intentionally to segue your thoughts to something else. Sometimes, and this is going to be a statement that is a stereotype, but oftentimes I will tell men to go do something mindless, go mow the yard, go clean something, go tinker around in your garage, something that's tactile, requires a little mind work, and it will let you shift gears there into something different.
That's good. For me personally, what I've found is like listening to something like that way. I'm not the one that's having to generate the thoughts. It's like I'm just hearing someone else's thoughts, And, I'm not good at memorizing anything, but like I able to hear it and just kind of like, it's like going from being the teacher of my life to the student. And so like podcasts or audiobooks, things like that. And I found it personally, this, again, I'm not the best at this, but I found personally, like I used to, there was a time where I worked about an hour and 15 minutes from where I lived. And then there was a time where I worked 3 minutes from where I lived. And now I'm back to like 45 minutes. So it's like that chunk of time gives me, it's like my off ramp, and I always found it harder when I lived closer because like I didn't have a chance. Like I'm literally still thinking of the last email I closed by the time I get to my house. And so I don't know. I think that's spot on. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Hey, it's Tyler here. I'm just going to give you a little break. So if you need to go do something, you need to go use the restroom, get a snack, get something to eat, whatever, you can go do that. I was going to chat with you about some stuff, give you some time to do that and check in, maybe say hi. If you want in the chat, let's do a little check-in. In the chat, how you feeling? Toss in your emoji of how you feeling right now. Let's do a little emoji checkup, if you will. So while you're doing that, I do want to give, you know what? I spent a lot of time writing this book, and I genuinely think this book is going to help you in your classroom. It's gonna inspire you more than anything. It's a read with me, and one of the things that I feel like I've never been the smartest dude in the room. I've never been, the most talented, but I'll say this, I was always been pretty approachable, I think. I've been approachable, and I think what this is, I've tried to be as relatable as possible. I'm talking about my experiences, things I've run into in the classroom, what I've learned as a teacher and as an administrator and as a student, what I learned. And so this is the Baller Teacher Playbook. If you're interested in checking this out, I recommend. Of course, I recommend. It's my book. It's not the best book on education, but I think it's good enough to help you in some way. It's got a lot of practical experience in it. I've got quotes. That's a do you boo boo. I could have picked a better chapter. Here's one thing. I want to show you one thing that I did at the end of each chapter because I know teachers. Okay, I put in practical application. I put in reflection because we know reflection is important, even though we never have time to do it. But it's got spots for you to write that in. So this is something you can work on by yourself or with your team. But here's the part that I did, and this is legit just for teachers. I don't know if you can see that. I put in, at the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR. That's internet talk for too long, didn't read. So what that means is, let's say you've got a team meeting, okay? Because there's 18 chapters in here. That means you and your team, or you and your building, you can go through a chapter once a week. You meet on your planning period, spend 10 minutes talking about what you did, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work, stuff to help improve your class and improve your students. Every week you can do that. Have you ever done this? In the chat, be honest, you ready? Have you ever had a team meeting where you're supposed to read something and you're walking over to the meeting and you're like, oh no, I forgot to read the thing I'm supposed to read that we're going to discuss for like 15 minutes. So you like just try to chill and like hopefully don't get called on or get called out for not reading it. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR where in like 2 to 5 bullet points, I summarize the chapter. So you could be walking to the meeting, you could read these 3 or 4 bullet points and be able to have a conversation about the entire chapter. There's stories in here, there's practical experience, there's ways that I messed up, ways that I failed, and then ways that I feel like I succeeded, and I'm just talking through what I learned from both of those. And I would love for you to learn and grow with me. So if you want to check out that book, it's on Amazon. I'll have the link on the screen if you want to get it. Link is in my bio. I link links everywhere to it. So Baller Teacher Playbook. I think it can help you in your classroom. Okay, we're about to get started. Kick back into it. Hopefully you're ready to roll, ready to go. And let's jump back in. Let's jump back in like Michael Phelps, okay? Well, does that work? Does that work? I mean, he jumps into the pool. That's what I was going for. I need to know more like high diver. High divers would have been better. I'll tell you this. We're gonna stick the landing like Carrie Strug. Y'all remember her? Carrie Strug. Remember the Olympics, Georgia Olympics, Atlanta Olympics. You remember that? It's okay. It's a very narrow reference. All right, let's get started. Let's kick it off. Let's jump back in. Get your notes out. Get your screens pulled up. Get your coffee ready. Get your ice water. Your sweet tea. If you're from Arkansas like me, you know you like that sweet tea. And we're about to kick it off. Here we go. Let's get back in. Let's get back in. I'll see you guys. I mentioned this at the beginning of that answer. You talked about processing to go to sleep, like a shutdown procedure. The next question is from Laurie, who actually I've never read this. Have you read Take a Nap, Change Your Life by
I have,
Sarah Mendon?
I
Okay.
have,
They recommended it. I have not. If I'm going to read one book, it's going to be your book, Dr. Atkinson. I'll read your book. Available wherever books are sold, correct?
yeah, you're right.
Okay, great. Baller Teacher Playbook. Isn't that what it was?
Yes,
I'll
that's
buy
what
it
it
every day.
was.
My man. So
That's right.
that was their recommendation, was take a nap, change your life. I haven't read it, but then they had a question for you, which was, what are your sleeping recommendations?
Mhm. Well, first, I mean, we're really finding, sleep studies are becoming so well done and are becoming more mainstream within the medical community. If you haven't had a sleep study, you should get one. They are a treat. What you'll find out. But I would say a sleeping recommendation is going to depend on your age, but you need to at least be getting 6 to 8 hours of rest at night. Um, I have a personal process leading up to that. So mine is just simple. I don't allow myself any technology about an hour before I'm wanting to go to sleep. So it's very conversational, or I'll read, or I'll listen to music. Nothing that's going to ramp my mind up. Um, I'll sit outside, something that's very relaxing for that hour before. Now, I'm not laying in bed doing this. I do not have a TV in my room, so I don't let myself be tempted to watch television while in bed. I'm trying to get my mind to identify my bedroom as a place of rest. And so I'm not trying to create multiple spaces there. And I would also say a nap is amazing if you can do it. Now I've worked for a few creative companies where we had sleep pods in our offices, and so over your lunch you could go take an hour nap if you wanted. They have that in school systems, Tyler. Sleep pods.
Not they don't have it for adults. They do for very young children. They're usually, the pods look like a red and blue mat that folds
Yeah,
out. That's what it
yeah,
looks
the
like.
red and blue mat. I remember those.
Yeah, I think
So
actually they got rid of that at a lot of schools for kids. So
now I have had, some of the adults that I've worked with, part of their daily is when they come in from work, they have told their family, for the next 30 minutes or 40 minutes, I'm going to take a nap. So if they get home at 5, don't talk to me till 5:45. And then I'll start the nightly process of cooking dinner and helping kids with homework and all that. And that's still a great time, especially if you're normally in the 10 or 11 o'clock at night hour of going to actual sleep. A 5 to 5:30, 5 to 5:40 time is still a great nap time. But you got to have some boundaries. And we may talk about that some in this talk. I don't know. But you're going to have some boundaries with your family or whoever needs to get them from you so that you can incorporate rest. But those are my sleep recommendations. Very simple. Be sure that you're getting it. If you're not getting it, make some changes. See your doctor. Get whatever you need to be sure that you're getting rest.
that was good. That was good. I had the next question, which these are not related, so it's not a very good transition that I just made. So the next question is from an educator out of Indiana. They had another recommendation as well. They recommended, it's called the Principal Mistreatment of Teachers. It's by Joe Roberts Blaze, I think is who it's by. I haven't read it yet, but their question was, what are some strategies for dealing with an administrator or boss who is like putting a lot of pressure on you? And they even said to the point of bullying teachers, to where it's like that. I don't want to, I'm not trying to stereotype that kind of boss, but a lot of times you see that with a little bit more old school mentality in education. Traditionally back in the day, it was like your coach, your football coach, then became an assistant principal, then became a principal. And like, that's how now administrators, I think we've done a good job of like kind of spreading out. But that mindset of like, I'm your coach, you are my player, like kind of way of treatment. What is your recommendation for teachers who may be dealing with an administrator with that mindset?
Yeah, I think this falls great into the boundaries talk that we were just talking about. In professional settings, boundaries have to be shared by good communication skills. So a boundary in my profession is basically this. It's the parameter you have around yourself that says, this is what I'm going to let myself do. This is what I'm going to allow to be said to me. This is how I'm going to spend my energy. And I'm letting you know that this is the boundary for that. So if you ask more of what I'm willing to personally allot from myself, then you're pushing against the boundary. And then I will have to re-communicate to you that I'm not willing to do those things. Now, the pressure lies in that you start thinking, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to get fired. This person has leverage over me. There can still be a healthy boundary in place, even in those settings where you're dealing with the person that signs your check, so to speak. So I think great communication and with this boss or administrator is a must. They have to know this is what you're willing to do or not do. But I think the step before that many who maybe listen to this don't have is they've never asked themselves what their personal boundaries are. So you wait way too long until you are stressed, pulling your hair out, losing sleep before you realize, I think this person is pushed me a little too far. You need to know up front, this is what I'm willing to do in those areas, and try to communicate that as quickly as possible. And don't feel bad if you have to keep saying it. When I coach families and I tell them to have boundaries with each other, I tell them, repeat the process, repeat the process, repeat the process. And there's a way to do that that's healthy and sensitive and respectful. It doesn't have to be ugly or threatening, or you walk out of the room wondering if you're going to lose your job over it. But I think just in terms of dealing with pressure, you've got to have boundaries, and you've got to be willing to communicate those to whomever is giving you the pressure.
Yeah, I would concur. And I think even if you're, I don't know, I don't think for the most part, people don't want to be rude or come off as rude to others or insensitive. Like even with that one boss that's maybe like super like, I mean, still I don't think they enjoy that. Like most people aren't like, oh yeah, I like being the bad guy. Like they might say that as a tagline, but they really don't. Like me, I'll just give a personal example. For me, it's fairly easy for me to like kind of multitask my life. I can send an email or think of something, and for the most part, those things don't stress me out. And so I'll just like boom, do that, and then I'll move on to hanging out with my family or doing whatever I'm doing. Well, I work with someone who it's not easy. Their on and off ramp are a lot longer than mine when it comes to any of this stuff. And so when I'd be thinking about something on, Saturday night at like 6 p.m., I'm doing something or I see something. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for something we can start incorporating at our school. And I'll just send out the text to the group. And I did that for a while. And then I finally, he communicated with me, like, he can't look at his phone because if he sees that, now his mind goes that way. You know what I mean? Whereas more things have a bigger impact on him. And so it's just him communicating that to me was like, oh my goodness. And it took me a while because I still get in the habit to get away from that. But I think if you communicate well, you said it, like communication is key for so many of those relationships.
Yeah.
So.
And let me interject too with something that you just said, but I think that longer runway that you were talking about, or off ramp, sometimes is just our personality. I mean, you inherited that genetically. And so I think it would be unfair to say that every single person can de-stress or lose or lower anxiety or depression or burnout by doing this cookie cutter model. You really have to know yourself and know what kind of personality you have, and then build a boundary around that you're comfortable with. But as it relates to just, being able to escape falling off the edge, is to know what personality type you are and be comfortable with that and know that this is just how your brain works. I can't tell you how many times in a year's time in therapy I will say that to people. This is just how your brain works. So let's accept how your brain works and build around that, rather than saying, well, this is how my friend handles it, and I want to handle it the way she handles it. Well, your friend has a different personality. And so that's unfair to you to say that you need to play the comparison game and want to be like other people. Self-awareness is going to be huge in this talk we're having.
Yeah. Oh, I think self-awareness is not only for your own personal stuff, but like even just how you communicate with other people. Like, I think that's absolutely true. So speaking of, 'cause I'm sorry, wanted to lean in on this. You talked about like personality types. Which one? I know there's a ton of them out there. There's like DISC, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs. Which one do you deal with the most, or like do you utilize the most when you're doing stuff?
I utilize the Enneagram. Just I like it. It's simple. It's clean. It's easy to understand. It doesn't feel psychological. It's easygoing. It's accessible. I mean, you can go to your bookstore tonight or go online and find out anything that you want to do. You can even go online right now and take an Enneagram test, and find out. So right now, that's my favorite one to work with.
That's good. That's actually my favorite one too. Like I've done all the other ones, but like I said before, I'm not good at memorizing things, so it's easier for me to remember that the 9 on that. We actually did for one of the summer sessions. My friend Mark and I, we're doing an Enneagram for Educators session where we break down a lot of them and talk through, just dealing with people who are, on different. They're just wired different, and that's the thing. It took me, and that was actually helpful for me and my wife too, because I'm a 3 and she's an 8. And so it's like what she would think is like, that's ridiculous that you would even do that. And I'm like, well, here's my intentions. Like it helps see behind the surface of the intentions and what wires them. And it worked with me. And my coworker, he's a 1. He likes it. I'm very much like if somebody walked in like, hey, let's go speak at this thing about this. I'm like, cool, we'll figure it out. He likes to have 3 weeks before the meeting where he plans the 3 weeks lead up to it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
This guy, that's me.
Yeah. Okay. Are you a 1 on the Enneagram?
Yeah, I am. I'm a solid.
Man.
Yeah.
That's good. I like it. Yeah. Ones can change the world because they actually know what they're talking about as opposed to just saying things like I do.
Those Enneagram too, man, they're good for families, just like you said. I mean, we use it a lot of time in family therapy because you're giving, having a number and understanding what that number means is such an easy way for a parent to go, I totally get my kid now, or I totally get my spouse, or man, I finally understand my mom and why she raised us the way she did, so it's powerful, it can be.
I absolutely agree. And it has helped a lot with a lot of relationships in my life, and also make me not think like, if I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, that's how I measure like success or what's good or what's important, which is actually going to lead into this next question. But like, that's how I measure doing well. Whereas someone else might measure it as this, or this. And then on their scale, I'm not doing good at all. So
What up again? Hey, how's it going, Tyler here? How are you doing? How are you? Are you okay? Are you good? You having fun so far? Are you having fun? Okay, in the chat, let me know how you feeling. Let's do, let's just go teacher on this. A is, you can A+, you can A, B, C, D, F. Oh my goodness, don't put an F, that's terrible. That's so rude, man, why would you do that? Tell us how you're feeling right now. If you learned anything, if you're growing, if you're having fun, any of the above, tell me, give it a grade, A to F. And if you want to explain yourself, you most certainly can. But just don't be mean. Don't be mean. This is a nice, positive environment. Plus, it's probably a contract day, so you're getting paid for this. So let's not get too upset. Chilling, get to watch a video and learn and grow with us. Got links and resources, templates, all that stuff. Okay, so we're about to take a break. If you need to take a break, go use the restroom, grab you a snack, get something to drink. I'm going to show some videos on here to where you can learn and grow. If you stick around, I want you to get that. So we're about to kick into some videos and then we'll jump back into it, and I'll keep a timer on the screen so you know how much time you have before we kick back into the teaching. So here we go. Yo, can I show you a feature you need to turn on in Gmail like now that I call the Save Your Job feature? You ready for this, gamers? Here it comes. So when you're on your Gmail, just go over to the right and click on the little gear. Looks like a little gear. We're going to click that, and then we're going to go to See All Settings. Boop. So go to the tab that says General. Should automatically pop up. Here comes the General. Sorry. Okay, go to the fourth one down. It says Undo Send. Turn this on anywhere 5 to 30 seconds. I usually do about 20. Feels safe. Then it says like the only thing you have to save in Gmail. Scroll to the bottom and click Save Changes. I've already got it, but you need to click Save Changes. Then you just go and write your little stuff. You're like, hey, I want to see your email. And you hit the Send button.
Now, after you hit send, watch the lower left-hand corner. Hit send, Tyler. There it is. Look at this. Message sent, undo or view message. I have that 20 seconds to hit undo, and it brings it back. Bring it back now. This is helpful if you're sending a meme, making fun of your boss to your friend teacher, and this way you don't get fired. You can yes. Plus, I want to show you a tip for Jamboard. It's very easy, very quick. It's going to help your life. By the way, this is in reference to the Google resource slideshow that I gave you. I'm going to show you which slide it's on. Ooh, here we go. First off, you can be in the presentation, hit Command F. What it does is it brings up this little chicken nugget, and you can type in Jamboard. Jamboard. It'll show you everywhere. There's one for a Jamboard for a walkthrough, and then bam! Jamboard. There's a slide, and there's a 30-minute training within this training where they can learn more about Jamboard. Let me show you a quick tip in Jamboard. So let's say you're trying to write something. You're like, I want to make a straight line. And you're like, oh, wow, this looks like I did this while I was skydiving. You can actually hold Shift while you do that little click, and it'll make a straight line. I can't do this. I don't have enough hands. Hold Shift, click, and it will, see this? It makes it a straight line that I can just drop like that. Look at that. Look at those straight lines. Hold Shift, bam, money, game time. I've got a little holder for it. Let me turn it around. Hey guys, Tyler here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you want to, you can go to the Summer PD link in bio. Spoiler alert, did you know that Google Slides just added a feature where you can have the text auto shrink or the boxes auto shrink based on the size of what you're putting into your Google Slide? Let me show you that right now. Okay, so usually you start typing and you're like, oh, look at me up top, another letter, blah, 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 blah. And look at this garbage. Look at this absolute garbage. Look at that. I'm the kind of guy who likes to color in between the lines. I would like to formally apologize for getting so hype. Let me show you how to do this. I'll be honest, I don't know where it is up here. If you know, just let me know in the comments. But I just go to help and I just type preferences. P-R-E-F, preferences. Click it. Then you want to click use custom auto fit preferences. Then you have options for the theme text placeholders and the new text boxes. You can have it do not auto fit. That's what we have right now. Or you can have it shrink the text if it becomes too much, or resize the shape to fit the text if it gets too big. Let's go with shrink text overflow. Now when you have text in there, it's going to auto fit based on the size. Look at this. Put it back in. Look. I can help you with that. You ever get it to where there's so many tabs at the top you can't even function? Let's fix it. So up here at the top, I've got all these tabs, and there's just a tab overload. Tab-a-labba-ding-dong. What am I saying? So what you want to do is you want to make them shrink down to just the icon, fun fact, called the favicon, and you want to shrink them down to make them really small. So you're like, oh man, Tyler's YouTube channel, like and subscribe, is very helpful. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin that tab. Watch this. I'm going to right click up here on this tab part, and I'm going to go down to pin, P-I-N. Here we go. Watch what happens. Yeet! Shrinks down to just the icon and it moves to the left. That right there, those 5 is less the size real estate than this one. You can tab them all. You can tab it up. Tab-a-labba-ding-dong. What am I saying? Fun fact, free PD available, link in my bio. Sign up now, it's free for you. Learn about Google, yes you will. And you can probably get it certified with your school. Just so I was leaving the library and they had these TVs up of all the March Madness and the basketball games. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, are these kids doing their homework? For real, like I love U of A. Congratulations, Arkansas. You know, got a degree from there. What's up, alumni? Here's the deal though. Are these kids getting done with this game? They're like, yeah, okay, I gotta go study for Western Civ. I just need to know. What y'all think?
Is that, bro?
The next question, this is from Cindy. Cindy said, the common thing pushed on teachers is, what are you doing to make a difference for someone else? How can teachers fulfill this, but also not neglect themselves? So any thoughts on that?
I think this question is pointing to how can I give away what I have, but still continue to feel myself. And I think this is a word we're all accustomed to, but you got to find some balance here. I hope it makes someone feel better to know that this is such a common question asked of me in a professional setting, because you've got people that are hardwired to be givers. They love to teach, counsel, educate, provide. Something in their professional setting requires a giving motion of some sort. And so at the end of the day, they do feel empty. They feel like everybody got it but themselves. This reverts back to that first or second question we had about routines and habits. So again, you've got to recognize where that gauge is going in your life, much like a gas gauge, and know when you're getting empty, when to fill up, when to take a break, and more importantly, to know what fills you. So I think again that's a personality thing. Some people read, some people rest, some people go on vacations. Like my wife and I, when we go on vacation, she will go to the beach and sit in a chair and stay there all day. That is not me. I'm more, I want to go 100 miles an hour, see everything I can, do everything I can. She's like, how did you in one afternoon spend $500 doing stuff? Because that's what fills me. Activity fills me, and exploring and seeing new things fills me. And so you've got to discover what that is in the context of this question. Is be a giver. A lot of that is going to fulfill you anyway. That's part of the passion on your life, is to give it away, whatever it is that you've got, but also know what fills you up and schedule it. I think it's Michael Hyatt that says what's not scheduled doesn't happen. So you've got to be intentional with this. You've got to know what fills you, put it down, schedule it, make it happen, and make it sacred. Don't let just anything move it off your calendar. Keep that on there so that you can stay full to give. That's my knee-jerk reaction to that, Tyler.
That's good. That's good. I completely agree. Mm-hmm. It is. A lot of times we do feel like, as educators, you're constantly pouring your cup into other people's cups, and it's like, okay, like you said, self-awareness is key. What pours it back into my cup, and sometimes it is the doing that and getting it. But whenever we do interviews for teachers, we always have a question where it's like, what do you love most about teaching? And 9 times out of 10, they say something like seeing that aha moment in students, like when they get it, like when you've been pouring and pouring into them and they finally get it, like that can refill a lot of your cup. But then as a teacher, there are times you go weeks without ever seeing that aha moment in students where it feels like you're just pouring and pouring. And it's like, you start thinking like, is there a benefit to what I'm doing? Like, are they getting this? Is this moving the needle for this student at all? And so it's like, then I could see where it drains you even more, not just like energy and exhaustion, but like, you don't feel like you're getting that back. And I know, one of the negatives of being remote is, if they do get it and they're like, oh, I get this, it's not like you see that because they're getting it, behind a computer screen. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
If I jumped in with one comment there, and I think this is in every profession in some way, we're all doing the things that we feel passionate about, and we do them for certain reasons. And so what I would say is know what those reasons are. For me, I journal those things. I'm not talking about I write paragraphs, but I've got a running list of what keeps me going. What is the win for me? And sometimes I've got to find that page, man, and I've got to read it. And I got to know that if this one thing I haven't seen for 2 or 3 weeks, well, maybe I got this other one. Maybe I've seen it. And if I hadn't seen that one in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe I got the other one. Anytime I see a spark in my life that fuels those good things, I write it down. And I may visit that, once a week for 2 months straight. I might go a year and not even look at it. It just depends on how life is treating me. But I do keep a running list of the things that I want to be reminded of as to why I do what I do.
That's a really good idea. That's like short-term, long-term, like that's a fantastic idea to think, always be able to think about like, why am I doing this? So that's great. That's I think I just made and this might be something teachers can do on their own stuff, but I just made a template. I think it was for like summer PD. It's like you get this flux of like, oh, I get to chill, but then also I'm sitting through like 6 hours worth of training. Like, hey, what's up? Like we're doing right now. But you get to sit through these trainings. And at the top, I put a box that says like, why am I doing this? Like, what is my goal here? And it's like, if we're not reminded of our goals, it's easy to just kind of be in the middle of the race thinking like, oh my goodness. It's like if you're running a 5K and, around a mile and a half, you're like, you've just been thinking about running on the road. You're like, this is a lot of work. But then you remember like, no, I want to finish this race. I want to get the medal. I want to complete the race. So I think that's good. I like that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Dr. Atkinson, sorry. Dr. Atkinson.
One more thought to that.
Yeah, go.
That when a lot of times as adults, we think about some of the exercises that we're talking about and we look at them as childish. Like that's something I would ask my kid to do. But there is such a psychological connection between the tactile and vision and seeing it and getting it in you. And we forget as adults how powerful that connection is. A study, and I think I read this in the New England Journal of Medicine, and I shouldn't say that without being able to give article number and all that, but I'm going to. A study was done from human resource departments and interviews for significant positions. These were upper level positions for either C-suites or mid-level managers that had a lot of say-so in a company. The first question was, why do you want this job? And the statistics were high, over 80%, either stammered through that question or could not answer it. So these were people who had been doing this type of work for years and years and years, or were looking to climb a ladder and could not communicate why they even wanted to do it anymore. And I think that just reinforces this thing that we're talking about right now, is being able to have that in you all the time to identify why you're doing it and what that win is. And so I just wanted to echo what you're talking about and kind of strengthen that by saying this is not something childish. This could actually get somebody who's listening over the hump and get them back engaged into something that they're very passionate about.
That's good. That'll preach. That you put that in your book. Make sure y'all go buy Dr. Atkinson's book. I really hope that the search goes up for Dr. Atkinson book on Amazon.
I'm gonna be like, what?
Hey, but then if people are watching this in the future after your book has dropped, then
That's
it's going to sell.
That's right. I'm gonna have to start right now. I'm just gonna write down a few things
on Post-its, and then the book is just pictures of your Post-its. I like that. Hey, if y'all need an appetizer, Baller Teacher Playbook. What's up? Always plug. I'm just kidding. All right. So, what? Okay. So this, I mean, honestly, you said it earlier. You said there, it's kind of breaking down over the past, year or two. It's, as I say, really over the past year, it's been ramping up. Like the stereotype between like, mental health and, being able to figure out like, okay, I don't need to just suck it up and move through it. You know what I mean? Like the ability to sit back and reflect. I think you said stereotype, which I think was a great term for it. What do you recommend educators do, or ways they can, whether it's in education or outside of education, to help raise awareness, and bring that into the field of education? Like what can we pull in to help raise the awareness to teacher mental health?
It's a great question. And I would answer that by saying, like everywhere, we've got to give it a place. Mental health has just not been given a place, at least by the generation ahead of us. It was either considered something scary, or we used terms like crazy. We didn't understand it. But mental health has come such a long ways in the past 50 years, especially. And we have a place for it. We have a very comfortable place for it. Advancements are happening so rapidly in mental health that are so good, helping a lot of people. Institutionalized patients, are dropping significantly because we're doing so much better work. So that's what I would encourage any superintendent, administrator, board of education, give it a place. Let's have conversations about it. Let's keep it to where our students can discuss it. If you get a one-on-one with a student and you sense that that's what they're wanting to talk about, go with it. Just give mental health a place. And I'm teaching that anywhere I get the opportunity, is let's welcome this taboo topic to the conversation, so that's where I would start, man. Just give it a place. And then from there, bring in people to talk about it. If you don't know about it, find someone who does, get them in there ask a lot of questions, write a lot of stuff down, and the people who are responsible for the culture in your system, get them talking about mental health. That's one of the best ways to get awareness going.
That's awesome. And I like, if we, cause now I'm with the college, but if I was still in public ed, like I would legit think about, you always have like 4 days, like the week before school starts, where you do like little trainings or you bring people in, and there's always stuff like you'll have a police officer, school resource officer come in and be like, here's some procedures on this. You talk through all this stuff, legal things. I think it would be a fantastic idea for schools during that back to school week to just somebody come in, like somebody like Dr. Atkinson, hit him up. What's up? But somebody like you who could come in and talk for 30 minutes, give them some tips, talk stuff like we're talking about now, and then maybe even answer a couple of questions. I think literally just letting someone come in the door who's able to talk about it and pour into that conversation.
You'd be very surprised at how many people are out there wanting that phone call too. Let me come talk about it. How many people would donate that to the school system? Just donate their time just to be able to open the door to a conversation. So yes, don't be afraid to invite people. They want to talk about it. I'm as passionate about this topic as others are listening about education. So make that invite, reach out. So many people will do it for free and love doing it. So it's a great place.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, they can use their PD budget and pay. They need to pay you guys. So, but I'm sure they would do it for free. But that's I don't know. Just me thinking as an administrator, like that's an easy way to just be like, hey guys, it's okay for us to talk about this. Like you don't have to just talk about this with your best friend or your spouse, like, or just hold it in. Like let's discuss it. And if you're struggling, want to figure it out. I don't know if it's a thing. I only heard it like one time from one counselor. This is like when I was a teacher. It was near the end of when I was teaching high school math. I had a counselor say, like, I'm not just a counselor for the students. I'm the counselor for the teachers here. And I just never had it. That was the only time I ever heard anybody even offer to be like a sounding board at a school. And so it's like, I don't know, figure out, whatever that looks like for your school district, communicate, talk to your administrator, see if there's something y'all can work out where somebody has a safe place to do that. So the next question kind of ties into that. It says, how can you simultaneously support your teacher mental health while supporting student mental health? So we're kind of leaning in. We've been focusing a lot on teachers and how they can, recognize, be aware. What's a way that we can do that along with helping our students? Because our students have the same thing. They're stressed. They've got tons of classes all day that they're trying to manage, and hormones and being a young person, whether they're in kindergarten or a senior or in college. So what are your thoughts on this?
Man, my thought on that, without repeating the answer to the last question, is going to be to know some of those identifiers for children, and a kid may not come up to you. I say kid, a student may not come up to you and just be able to disclose eloquently what's going on. And so we're looking for all kinds of things, fatigue, inability to concentrate, being antsy. I always look at nails, are they biting nails or picking nails, or, doing things that would lead me into thinking they were experiencing some form of anxiety. So I'm looking for physical markers where they may not be able to just identify, hey, I'm depressed, or I'm sad, or, or I'm just not sleeping, and so on. So I think one way is to educate yourself. If you can have a professional come in and talk only about identifying that in children, there are some great specialists out there who can do a fantastic job of just educating you on how to identify that with students. But I think you've got to dial up your sensitivity and your awareness of the classroom, and kind of know, this student is acting differently than they were a month ago. And just, again, awareness. I know I've said that 10 times already, but that's really where the key is with a lot of this. It's just being aware, and then knowing, I guess the next step was, once you are aware, having a resource to take that student into the next place. So there are a lot of agencies who sign contracts with the school system.
Mhm.
There are even a lot of medical models going where a doctor visits the school one day a week and just will talk with students. I know in our residency here, one of our two-year or 3-year resident goes as a psychiatrist, goes into the school systems and talks to teachers, talks to students, talks to whomever wants to ask questions. Just an amazing partnership taking place there. So getting them into the step that's past awareness and into getting some help if they needed it, I think is always great.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. A lot of times they just don't know where to go. Students are like, okay, I might be dealing with this, but what is the procedure? It's hard
Mhm.
enough to get them to remember the procedures to do a multi-step equation, much less who to talk to and how to deal with, anything that's going on.
And I'll throw this into Tyler. I did school-based therapy for about five years, where I would go in and do testing or therapy, and even meet with families. I had one school system that would let me use their office or an office space after hours, so I would stay there from like 3 to 7 and meet with families. Some school systems are very leery of bringing in an agency, either because they don't want the students brought out of the classroom for that amount of time, or they are open to so many agencies that now there's 4, 5, 6 therapists working the school. And I understand 100% the frustration in that, but I do believe that there's a solution to get students help without monopolizing their time, without it being a nuisance, without there being any fear from administrators on privacy, or overstaying one's welcome. But there's got to be this partnership, and I want that so badly for students to have immediate access. And I don't even know where I'm going with this, except to say that I hope school systems will just encourage the conversation of going, how can we immediately get students in the right spot if we needed to?
That's good. I think we've talked about this before, but when I was a principal, we actually had a partnership with a clinic in our area to where I got to be in on the interviews, and we hired someone that worked for them, but was in our building like every day during school day. And so, students, they had set appointments where they would go speak with them. And then also, like, say a student got done with class early and they're like, hey, I'm done with my work for today. Is it okay if I go talk to him for a second? And they would just go into his office and talk and chat, and just kind of like, it gave them a safe place, because it's not their friends who are going to judge them or spread it or talk to anybody. It's not their teacher who's more concerned, not say more concerned, but very concerned with like academics and don't get distracted. And I've got to teach this, this, and this. It was somebody that could just sit there and listen, and it became a great outlet for them. And they knew, like, if you get done with your stuff, like, great. Or say you're in the middle of your stuff and you're just like, no, I need to talk to somebody. There were times when students would get so upset. They would come to me because were a discipline issue. And I would just be like, hey, I would love for you to talk to, your counselor before you come in here. And that was the person that was set to be in there. And then also we had what ALE is? Alternative Learning Environment.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had an ALE in my building, and those students are in that room all day. And we had a set class period every single day where that person would sit in the room with them. And it was just, he's building relationships with them. He's talking. It's like almost like a group talk through, and he's doing that. But then if somebody had something, then he would take them out and talk to them. So it was part of us starting that school, was being able to have somebody dedicated to just the students. And so
Fantastic.
I think
love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I think, looking back now, because as a principal, you're caught up in everything, like teachers and academics and grades and everything. You don't realize how special that certain aspect of your school is. And, we just did a really good job in hiring, that person too, the group and I hired, he was just excellent. And students, sometimes it's just them stepping out of their classroom and talking in the hall for a few minutes, and it's nothing more than like sharpening your pencil, and you get the chance to.
Yeah. It certainly does not have to be this deep therapeutic process where, you're going to spend 90 minutes with a student. It can be very small and still be very impactful at the same time.
I agree. I completely agree. What up? Tyler again. Wow. How you guys feeling? Y'all good? You good? Are you good? Okay. In the chat, this is what I want you to do. In the chat right now, I want you to tell me what was your college major. And if you're still in college, you want to be a teacher, or you're just here to learn and grow, I want you to tell me in the chat, what was your major in college? Okay? Tell me what was your major in college. And then what do you actually teach now? Are they related? You don't have to. Just tell me where you went to college. I'd love to see. Throw it in there. We're going to say, if you see somebody that has the same one, reply to them, give them some knuckle bumps or high fives or thumbs up or peace signs, whatever it is, smiley face. That's my best emoji, smiley face. Like that. Toss that in the chat, and let's just talk about where we went to college. And the reason I bring that up is I'm actually the dean of a college. It's called NLC College. It is a partnership with Arkansas Baptist College and New Life Church. It's where we use the New Life Church facilities, and students can come and get an actual degree, associate's or bachelor's degree in business administration or Christian education. They can get those degrees from Arkansas Baptist College, located at NLC, so we call it NLC College. So if you know any students that are interested in maybe attending, if you'd like to hear more about it, hit me up. I'm gonna leave the link on there to the website. Also, the Instagram handle gonna be on there if you wanna check it out. Follow us on Instagram at NLC College. But I can tell you about it, but I'd love for my students to tell you about it. So here are some thoughts about NLC College, which I love and I'm a part of. I'm the dean of NLC College, so of course I love it. I wouldn't be there. So if you want to check it out, let's see what they have to say. I'm gonna be low key, for real. These are some of the best students on the planet. These young people, they're straight up, they're world changers. I mean that. And I care a lot about them, and I think they're fantastic. And I'd love for you to hear from them about the school that they attend, NLC College.
I go to NLC College, and two things that I miss about it there are the people whom I miss and I love very much, and the intramural sports, specifically volleyball.
Okay, so if you don't know this, I go to NLC College, and my number one favorite thing about the school is the community. I met some of my best friends there that I have for life, and my second favorite thing is serving at events with the school and putting on preview day.
What's up, guys? You know, something I love about NLC College is all the free coffee and coffee mugs that they give you.
Hey guys, I just finished my first year at NLC College, and there's two things that I really, really miss. One being just the family aspect of the school, and two, chapel. I miss worshiping with my friends.
What's up, everyone? I want to get on here real quick and tell you all about why my college, NLC College, is the best school ever for two reasons in particular. One, the community I've been able to be a part of, and two, the opportunities that have opened up for me since I've been going to school there.
Y'all, I just finished my first year at NLC College, and it was absolutely incredible. I already miss our weekly leadership development classes and just getting to be up at the church all day, every day.
Hello. I go to NLC College. I love it because JK, I do go to NLC College, but two things that I love about it is one, you're always held accountable, and two, everyone in the community pushes you to be the absolute best you can be.
What's up, New Life Church and NLC College? Something that I love about my college that I go to is how we have a community of people who are all like-minded with the same goal, and how they've given me the tools to grow and develop myself as well as my business. Shameless plug.
Guys, I just want to hop on here and talk about my school. I'm sad that it's my last year at NLC College, but I'm thankful for everything that I've learned, like how to live life right and by the Bible, and definitely I love Dr. Q's jokes.
What is up, guys? So if you didn't know, I just finished my first year at New Life Church College, and by far my favorite things about it are one, the community of people that you're surrounded by, and two, all the free time you get to do things you're passionate about and just to hang out with all of your best friends all the time.
So one thing that I love about New Life College is that it didn't slow me down from doing what I wanted to do with my life, which was music. It actually supported me. New Life College feels less like a school, more like a family to me. So yeah, that's one of the main things that I love about the school.
Hey Hey guys, I'm here to share two fantastic things about NLC College. So one is the community that you get when you go to NLC College, and then how caring the professors are about you and your grade.
Hey, what up, everybody? I wanted to let you know a little bit about NLC College, the school I go to. I'm going to tag them here so you can go to their page. But one, if you're even thinking about going there, please sign up for housing. It's such an amazing experience. And two, the community there is like none other. They're all...
Things I like about NLC College is Tyler Tarver, he's the best. And number two is that it's affordable. So, because, you know, I'm going to be broke. And, or I am broke. But that don't make me too broke. You feel me?
Okay, hey guys, I go to NLC College, and the number one favorite thing I love about that school is the community. I made friends there that I'll have for life. I'm zooming in. Why?
Okay, so our next question says, what methods or strategies can be used to deflect the next person's negativity or issue before it causes you to be too empathetic? So it's like we all have that one coworker who just like, as soon as they walk in, you're like, all right, cool. They're about to gripe about something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're just a constant stream of downward thumbs at life. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because that's the thing. It's you've heard, I know you probably heard that phrase. We are like the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And very often you don't get to choose the person with the classroom next to you. And so it's like between every class or in your prep period, they're going to bounce in, and that kind of seeps into your life. What are some thoughts, strategies, methods for dealing with people like that?
Oh man. Again, that goes back for me. It goes back to the boundary talk. I give people boundaries with my emotions. I refuse to be sucked in to someone else's drama or opinions, or negative energy. You know, I just give myself, you know, a strong boundary when it comes to that. And so I'm able now to really listen to someone or nod my head or even agree, interact with them without absorbing what they're trying to put on me. I think that requires some practice and some discipline and work. And I'm not certainly bragging on myself about it. I'm just telling you from my own experience, it's a laborious thing to be able to brush that off. So you've got, again, to know what you're about, what your values are, what you're willing to listen to, what you're not. Sometimes I walk off. Sometimes I cut people off. Sometimes I tell them, not today, Satan. I'm just kidding. So,
I mean, not a bad line if you need to, you know, you need to break it out.
Use it if you need it. So I just tell them, you know, I'm not going to be a part of this. And I think some of that has to have some courage. I mean, you got to be willing to stand up in those moments and not just be dumped on. And that comes with boundaries. I'm going to give you an example of this. There was a family that I was working with where the 2 adult sons always used their mom as their dumping place. You know, just come in from work, talk to her, dump everything out onto her, and she began to join them in all this negative talk and thoughts, to the point where she got really depressed. And she felt like, as a mother, I have to love them and absorb all of this and take it on and try to be the solution to all of it. And so we just started talking with her about how she can say, guys, you've got 10 minutes. Or guys, if you say one negative thing, you've got to say 2 positive things, kind of make it an economy. I realize in the workplace, you're dealing with people passing each other in the hallway and saying quick things, or in a break room, or standing outside, or on lunch duty, whatever it is. You've just got to have boundaries in place, again, with what you're willing to absorb and take on. Very hard to answer and put into applicable steps. It's more of a principle that you've just got to adopt, rather than something that's just like, I'm going to flesh this out 1, 2, 3.
That's good. Yeah. I like that. I have nothing of value to add. You hit it all. It was so good. So good. So my next question, the next question, not my next question, the next question that was submitted. Someone said the comparison is the robber of all joy is very popular right now. Just because, well, one, now, like I'm just going to, let me finish the question, then I'll say what I want to say, and then you throw in the actual good advice when I just ramble. But how should teachers handle the feelings of inadequacy when technology, curriculum, and everything's changing at such an incredibly fast rate? With education, especially, I've noticed it more so when you get into the higher grades, like as you go up 7th, 8th, 9th, up to seniors, and then big time in colleges. Everybody has been in silos. Like everybody is like in their room, they do their thing. They never see another teacher teach ever because they're always just in their room teaching. And there's not a lot in collaboration. A lot of times it's hard to come by. I think with this question, it was easier for people to hide behind that. And you might think, you're the best teacher because you're the only teacher you see. Now, with the pandemic and education going a lot online, you're seeing so many more people that are putting it out there. And now the comparison is there because you can actually see their lessons. You can see what they're doing. And not only do teachers feel inadequate because they might not be comfortable with all the technology, now they're actually getting to see other teachers teach. And they might be like, oh, wow, am I that good? Or I can't do that, or, stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on that? And what advice do you have for educators?
Yeah, man. Well, I think you've got to first identify, are you comparing yourself to them, or are you challenged or inspired by them? And be able to differentiate between those two things. So is it true that we don't need to compare ourselves to the point of feeling sick about it? Yeah. But I can compare myself to someone to the point of being inspired. And I can take that and use it and challenge myself. In terms of the feelings of inadequacy, I think that's okay. You've got to give yourself permission to feel a weakness. This Superman mentality that we can get caught up in can be very harmful and can make you feel like you have no traction and that you're not even contributing to the field anymore. So you've got to get a hold of that thought. This is a thought that ends up turning toxic and gets down into the values of who you are and why you do the things that you do. So just keep in mind that if you feel inadequate in some area, it's okay. I give myself permission all the time to not be people who are probably more influential than I am, or people who do things better than I do, or speak better, or teach better, or diagnose better, or have some skill that I have, but it's not comparable to the level that they do it. It doesn't mean that I'm still not doing something good and worthwhile. So you got to bring all that into balance and differentiate. Are you comparing to the point that you are feeling sick about it? Or can you look at that and go, I see a weakness and I can grow in that, at least to a certain point. I may never be them. I may never be that creative. I may never be that naturally skilled at something that I'm seeing online, but I'm going to give myself full permission to be all right with that.
That's
and
good.
what I can't grow in, I'm going to applaud too. I know I had a professor one time who used to always say, when you meet somebody or you compare yourself to somebody, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to envy them or you're going to invest in them. And so really the mentality there is, when I see people that are doing things, they're knocking it out of the park, I'm going to invest in that,
That's good. That's good. And I always I struggle with that sometimes too, because there's like things that, even stuff that I feel like I'm good at, if I see somebody better, it's like, ugh. And it's like, my first instinct is like, I wish they were worse. It's like, instead of making myself better, I'm like, I just wish you weren't as good, But then I got to think too, it's like, maybe there's something I can learn from them that can make me better. And I think, as educators, it's very easy to always preach learning and growth to our students. But then when it comes to us in certain areas, it's hard for us to view us as learners too. And, one of the things that, when I was teaching, or when I was teaching math, I had students all the time. So I'm not good at math. I was like, well, don't say that you're not good at math. You're always getting better. And it's like that growth mindset, not this binary, I'm good or I'm bad. And with teachers, when I'm helping, as an administrator, I see teachers all the time. It's like, I'm not good at technology. And I'm like, yeah, you are. Like, you use your phone. Yeah, I'm not that good at it. Yeah, but you're learning more about it. Every time you use something, you get better at it. So it's like, if we can adopt that mentality, hopefully it kind of, diminishes that comparison, because it's not like, oh, you're better than me. Like, no, you're at a different stage in your race. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all at a different spot in our race. So
sometimes, but before COVID, and I could see, everything everybody's doing online now, but before, and I'm almost 50. So I'll
you look great, by the way.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So before COVID, one of the worst things for me sometimes was going to a conference, because I would go and be around brilliant people, brilliant communicators who were doing creative things that would never enter my mind. And I would leave sometimes, man, just wanting that $500 back, because I felt like, I'm just leaving to feel like an idiot or something. And so I totally get that feeling that we can get into, but man, I am learning more and more that it is just okay for me to stay in the lane that I'm the most comfortable with and feel good about. And I don't have to constantly stay in this state of betterment. Sometimes being content is like medicine. And when you can take it in waves, like I'm in a season of contentment and I'm going to be happy with where I am in the process, versus I've always I got to get better. Sometimes that can be a very, very unhealthy place. And so my recommendation too would be, find some contentment with what you're doing, and be real thankful that you even get to do it.
Yep. I agree. I think that, our profession is a unique one, in that not only are we trying to, we could train people that would become teachers, training people for our specific field, but we're the unique field of, we train everybody's worker. And so it's like, if I'm a welder, I'm training people to be welders, whatever. That's, whatever you're training them to do, that's what you want them to do. Here, we're training people to do anything. And so, I love it. I love it. Okay. Next question. What are your recommendations as a professional on how, say I'm an educator and I'm listening to this. I'm like, you know what? I think I should talk to somebody. I need a therapist, need somebody to speak with. What are my next steps to find a therapist? If I'm a teacher, are there teacher specialists? There are people that specialize in helping teachers. And then honestly, even within that, is there something to help, new teachers, teachers that might have burnout from teaching for a long time? What are some avenues people can take to find their next steps?
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, there's not a specialized field that just says, hey, we specialize in helping educators. Or for like the subcategory you mentioned, like a new teacher or whatever. The way that the therapist is trained is to work with the area that you're most uncomfortable with. The number one question on any intake assessment is, why are you here? We're wanting to know what made you make the move to coming in today, and how can we help with that? And you don't have to even know what that person does for a living to know those things. Finding a therapist is getting more and more accessible and easy. I would always say that going to your doctor is a great start. Therapists are in constant relationship with medical doctors, so they are finding out what they need. A lot of PCPs are going to a model where they actually hire a therapist and have one in the building. That's always a good thing too. Word of mouth is good. I would tell you another untapped resource is our pastors. Pastors know a lot of therapists. They're always referring families and children and things like that to good therapists. So they always know who in my area is doing a phenomenal job. And I would say if you choose a therapist, too, you have to treat this just like anything else. So you want the best one, and you may go to one and not feel a good fit. You may want certain things from your therapist. So don't just settle for the first referral you find. Go have a consult with that therapist, find out what they can do for you. And if they're not the right fit, stand up and go on and go on to the next search. Find the therapist or doctor that works for you. But I would say that pastors, medical doctors, online is becoming, of course, a great resource, especially with the ability to see reviews from patients. You're able to get an idea of the work somebody does. So just put the research in and find you a good one.
That's good. That's good. And if one thing teachers do is they like research. So hopefully they can find a good person. And, I think too, I don't know. Okay. I have a question because I heard somebody did this with an organization. They have somebody that, has a practice near their organization, and not like near, like I'm involved with it, but in proximity, and multiple people from that organization see this person. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea? I think, because one, it gives them context because they're like, oh, I heard that story from so-and-so. Or is it bad because now they're allowing multiple people's, thoughts and what they're thinking to influence it? Is that good or bad?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you've got one therapist that's pulling from the same pool of people, it's fine as long as they're respecting HIPAA. And nobody knows who's coming in. Now, a therapist can't control that. So if they're all going to work and going, yeah, I see Kevin on Tuesdays. Really, I see him on Thursdays. You can't control that. But on the therapist end, you can control like who's in your waiting room. Do you want people to stay in their car until they come in? So privacy, we're really amping up privacy. And of course, we've always been under HIPAA regs. So the things that are talked about are confidential and protected. And so I don't think there's a problem with it at all. Typically, at least on an ethics stance, the only problem would be if those people are talking to each other. So,
that's good.
Are you laughing at me?
Sorry. No, I'm laughing because my dog is sleeping on the floor and it just did this like weird yawn thing, and it sounded like maybe I pooed it or something. I didn't. I'm just going to clear the air in multiple ways there that I didn't. That was my dog like sleep yawning. So I want to respect your time, Dr. Atkinson. So this will be the last question, and kind of focusing on our students. What are some warning signs? You gave us some, seeing mature their nails. So you've kind of answered the first part of the question, unless you think of something else you want to add. But what is a way that educators can adjust their classroom or their teaching to better ease students or control the environment to protect, student mental health?
Yeah, I would say the first part of that question is, find a reputable site and know what the symptoms are. So if you're primarily dealing with anxiety, depression, concentration issues, go and find out what the DSM says about them. That doesn't mean you're going to try to diagnose anyone, but it just means that you're becoming aware of those signs. So there's a threshold on them, meaning that it doesn't matter that I've had a bad night of sleep. That doesn't mean I'm depressed. It means that, if I've had a bad night of sleep for 30 days in a row, that's when I need to look into that. So I would just find a site, make myself familiar with those symptoms. As far as adjusting the classrooms, the only thing that I could say is in terms of you have to look at this through a lens of what that student is struggling with. So let me give you an example. And I don't even know, Tyler, if this is even possible or feasible, but someone who is anxious does not want to be in a crowd. They don't want to be pressed. They don't want to have someone breathing down their neck. So like you can take someone who's anxious sitting on the front, move them to the back, and relieve some of that. Just if they feel like nobody's staring at them, or they're not, a lot of times they'll group people at tables. Well, you may have to take someone who's really anxious and isolate them. And you look at that socially and you go, well, man, I don't want to isolate a student. But if you look at it through their mental health, you just helped them a lot. Depression tends to be the other way. So if you've got someone who is depressed, being around people can really help. Being engaged, being forced to communicate and talk and interact can actually be helpful to help subdue those symptoms, especially while they're in the classroom. Taking a kid who's depressed and isolating him does the complete opposite of what doing about someone who's anxious and isolating them. So it's just being aware of that. And then how can I lead the culture of my classroom to adapt to kids who are really struggling? And I wouldn't try to control an environment if you're dealing with low grade symptoms. I'm talking about kids that are really struggling. Then you might want to look into trying to rearrange or accommodate things to just help dissipate those hard symptoms that they're struggling with.
That's excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Dr. Atkinson, I really appreciate your time. I know this has been super helpful, and I know it's been extremely, for educators, for themselves, for their people they work with, or even, for their students. And I think you are just wonderful, and I appreciate your time and your energy and your knowledge and everything that you've done today. If anybody was interested in, having you come speak to their school or, work with them, what would be the best way for them to contact or get in touch with you?
Yep. The best way is email me. And that email is kwatkinson@me.com. kwatkinson@me.com. I'd be glad.
Okay. Let me see if I spelled it right on the fly. You ready? I'm going to try to add it in. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Oh, that's it.
First try.
First try.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah. Well, what if I had it typed in for like 10 years and I'm like, now's the time. It's like a treasure map. And I finally found the treasure. So if you guys want, screenshot that or take a picture of it. Contact him if you would like to get a hold of him. And I'll have all his information on the page if you want to contact him, on the PD page. So holler at me if you need anything. Thank you so much again, Dr. Atkinson. You are wonderful. I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you.
What up? Hey guys, Tyler here, Tarver Academy. What's up, Tyler Tarver? How you doing? How you living? In the chat, tell me one piece of advice you have for teachers. What's one thing you've learned as a teacher or one piece of advice you learned as a student when you had teachers? I would love for you to tell me that in the chat, and let's all learn something from each other as we go. We're about to take a break right now. I'm gonna show some videos. I'm gonna let you kind of learn and say you don't have to go take a break, say you wanna sit at your desk. I'm not just gonna sit here in silence. We're not gonna play some Barry Manilow. That's not how Barry Manilow. What can I do? How about this? The greatest song ever made. Donna Lewis, I Love You Always Forever. I love you always forever, near and far, closer together. Y'all remember in the chat, what is the greatest song ever made? And that's actually the answer. Donna Lewis, I Love You Always Forever. Second best song ever made, Backstreet Boys, Everybody, yeah. And third best song is obviously, Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping. I don't know, I'm sorry. Tell me your top number one favorite song in the chat if you haven't gone to take a break. I'm about to stop talking and I'm going to let you learn something or start a discussion or just hear some thoughts. If you leave for this part, that's okay. But if you stay, you're hopefully gonna get some value out of it. And then we'll jump right back in to the PD. Here we go. Hello there. I'm sorry, this is genuine, I meant that. So did you know that you can set up a temporary access for people on Google Drive files? It's true. Meaning you can set it up to where you share it with your class or other teachers and they only have access until a predetermined date and time, and then it cuts out the access. Cut away the carbs. I'm so sorry, what? Show the people, Tyler. Okay. So after you share it with somebody, you'll be able to see like they're sharing permissions. Then right over here where it says editor, you can click on that little chicken nugget, go down to give temporary access. What? And then I can choose when this little guy is done. You have no access after March 16th, and you shall know. Click save and you're good. Now, keep in mind, this is only a feature if you are like a G Suite like admin. Most schools have this, I would assume, if you're with a school, which is cool. Nailed it. First try. Follow for more tips and tricks. I want to give you the add-on that'll save hours of your week, and it's just the best. I'd also like to introduce my co-pilot on this Magic Carpet Ride, this young man who will not go to sleep. Say hello, Finn. Let's learn about AutoCrat. That's right. What AutoCrat does is it takes information that is submitted into a Google Sheet, which it can be through a form or directly in a sheet, and it automatically fills in information based on whatever is in the sheet or the form. Does that make sense? Do a form, and it'll create this email, document, PDF. We can use it for a ton of stuff. Certificates, if you fill out one of my PDs at the end, it'll automatically send a certificate with your name filled in, the PD you did, the timestamp of when you did it, all of it. That is called AutoCrat. So like I created one for professional development one time where when a teacher fills out what they want to take for PD, it fills in here, automatically adds up, emails it to the right people, and then we can all sign off on it. I created a 5-minute walkthrough that'll walk you through it. Link in my Instagram bio. Oh, did you know you can create virtual backgrounds for your Zoom to do like bingo or activities with students or whoever you want, I guess? Let me show you how to do that. Go to the link in my Instagram bio. Click on the link. Click on, there it is, Canva. Goats, click on it. They have free accounts, so you ain't gotta buy nothing. Go to the search and type in Zoom and click on Zoom Virtual Background. You can choose from a plethora of different things. Happy birthday. Oh, look at that, Costa Rica. All these beautiful things. Let's maybe try this little chicken nugget. You can use this, you can change out stuff. Mr. T, that's me, Mr. T, Tarver. Low-key, do we know what Mr. T's last name was? Maybe it was Tarver. Related. You can put whatever their assignments are gonna be for the day. Get that download game. Oh, check this out, that's me. I can teach class, blah, 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 Pythagorean theorem. Follow for all the tips and tricks, or else I'll delete your account. Hey guys, you want to learn how to do video? First, you have to put up with me talking about how I like cards. This is Greg Maddox Rookie Card. That's what's up. Let's get to learning. I'm so sorry. I'm seriously getting back into it and I cannot help myself. We're going to breathe together and we're going to learn together. So most of you guys will use Screencastify or Loom to create video, and they're great for video. But you know who else is in the game that you might know about? It's the people that you love for design. If you don't use Canva, so help me, you don't watch me. And if might as well just delete your account because Canva's incredible. Let me show you how to do it. First off, if you need link in my bio, I've got a link straight to Canva and you can get it. It's free, but they got pay versions. Just do the free one. Hit video, search video, hit video, pick you a template. I'm a little click. Then you just make sure you upload the video into there. Bam, hit videos. Bam, you can select it and drag it in there like this. Click. And then the video's in there. This is a video I made like 12 years ago. It's gross. It'll tell you how long it is right there, and you should download. I probably recommend an MP4. Now you got the video. By the way, my book dropped today. Hey, what's up? How are you today? So I want to show you a website that I let my students play if they were like caught up on something, if it was semester exams and they finished all their tests. It was a fun site that they could go to and play where it required some thought and some strategy, but also it was kind of fun. It was called Fantastic Contraption, and this is like the original that I like. You just hit play, and the goal is you're trying to move, look at this, you're trying to move these into this area, and you can build contraptions, but it has to be in the blue areas where you build it. So like here's one, you would try to get that ball into this area. So when you hit start, everything just drops. So you've got to build something that carries it over there. You have different things that do different stuff. They call it like an online physics game, and I taught math, so it was pretty fun. Let's see if this goes. Come on, little buddy. Let's go, little buddy. Come on, buddy. Oh no, oh no. Oh yes, come on. Oh no, oh no. Is that the song? Oh yeah, I got it. Boom. The game's free if you want to play it. I've linked it in my Instagram bio if you want to. Hey, what's up, guys? So excited to see you again. I'm here with my good friend, Lindsay Fell. Lindsay is a teacher extraordinaire. She is always on the forefront of helping students and coming up with creative and energizing ways to run her classroom. And I know several students that were in her classroom that she was their favorite teacher. They loved having her as a teacher. And they told me all the time. And I was like, hey, quit it. I know I'm not your teacher, but you should say that about me anyways. Stop talking about Lindsay like she's so great just because she is, okay? And so we were actually in the same class as Apple Distinguished Educators. So we were both 80s, the same class. 2019, I think, was the year. I don't know, past 2 years are blurry. But I asked her to come on and I use her expertise and her experience and her wisdom. And I thought she would be a great voice to have as we talk about, teacher mental health best practices. Like, what are some things that we can do, the ways we can recognize, and pretty much just anything. So if you have any ideas, thoughts, things you want to add as we're talking, please throw in the chat, because we are not, Lindsay's an expert. I'm not an expert. And so I would love to hear from you guys, thoughts, opinions, experiences, things you've done, or ways that has been helpful for you as a teacher. So that's super important to throw that in the comments. And we want to hear from you. Lindsay, if you want, please tell them a little bit about yourself, your journey, and kind of where you're at.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tyler, for letting me be here. Yes, 2019 was the year that we became Apple Distinguished Educators. And honestly, 2019, I don't think we knew how good we had it in 2019 until 2020 came around. I miss 2019 so much. But yeah, as far as being an expert goes on this particular topic, I just want to really stress that I am not an expert. I am a flawed human who has struggled with burnout, and I'm just here to share authentically some things that have helped me work through that. So I am really passionate about technology and education, but this session's a little bit different, and I don't claim to be an expert in this at all. It's just some strategies that I've kind of put in place in my life to kind of help me stay in a healthy place mentally as we try to navigate these crazy times in the classroom, because they're hard, they're tough. So.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that it's becoming a topic that it almost felt like you couldn't talk about it. Like, you can't say that you're stressed or you're burned out or whatever. So just do your job. Just do your job. No, it's like, I'm going to do my job, but I can be even better at my job if I get some of this stuff worked out, if I figure out some workflow, some energy stuff, and just make things the best they can be. Sorry. So continue. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just excited to talk about this.
Oh, yeah, I think that's great. Workflows are fantastic for stress relief. If you can find a way to make your work more efficient, especially our creative work as teachers, if we can kind of take some, because it's so mentally exhausting. So if we can cut down on the mental exhaust part in creative workflows, then yeah, that definitely plays into mental health. But as far as education as a whole goes, centered around wellness, I think that we've put a lot of energy into making sure we're taking care of our students' mental health. But I think that we definitely need to extend that to teachers too, and even administrators, because what we do is really hard. It's a grind. I know I've heard you say that before, that teaching is a grind. And it's just not sustainable if we aren't taking care of ourselves and if we aren't making sure that we're okay first.
Yeah. I completely agree. So, what are some thoughts you have with regards to like why this is such a priority? Like, what have you noticed in your life, and what have you noticed, I don't know, in other teachers that's made you like, hey, I love technology, but you can't be good at technology. You can't be integrating that in your class. You can't do fun stuff if all you're feeling is this burnout or this grind that is teaching. So what are some thoughts you have on that?
Yeah, I think whenever we as teachers feel overstressed or burnout, then that trickles down to our students, and it just doesn't create a healthy culture in our classrooms. And then that can spread throughout your school and then throughout your entire district. So it's like cultivating a garden almost. You've got to cultivate a healthy culture. And part of that is taking care of mental health and wellness. So let's see. One of the big questions I was going to ask is, how can we find the balance between being productive, because our jobs demand a lot of us, but avoiding that burnout? So kind of thinking about resiliency in those really tough times. How can we as teachers keep our resiliency high? And it's been a tough year or so. And I think we've all met immense struggles, but I think that we've also seen how teachers can rise and overcome. But I think something to really think about is teachers are tired. It's been tough. We're exhausted. We're at the end of this school year, or I guess when this plays, it'll be in school year. But it's just been tough. So I think taking time to pour back into ourselves and make sure that we are in a good place so that we can be good for our students is something that we need to make a priority.
Absolutely. What are some things that you do, because you're super productive, you get a lot done and with your time, what are some things that you do to balance that, like personally, to balance being productive but not getting to where you're like, I feel like I'm a robot, a machine for just teaching and coming up with lessons?
So one thing that I did was I used to try to have a work and life balance where I balanced out my home life and my work life, to where I made sure that I was giving, ample amounts of energy in both places. But what I found was I was totally depleted. I have 2 small children. So I would work all day at work, and then I would come home and pour into them all, and I wasn't giving myself any time. So that just led to further depletion. So I kind of shifted my mindset from a work-life balance to a work-rest balance. And that has made a huge difference, just carving out time in my day and in my weeks to make sure that I am getting rest. So here's some things that I did for that. I put boundaries in place to protect my peace and my time. So if there was something that was draining me, which could be people, or it could be pursuits, or things like that, that I needed to carve out of my life because it was draining me, then I did. And one example is social media. I had to take a break from social media for a while and I love social media. It was one of the places, especially Twitter and TikTok. It's where I learn a ton, but there was so much content on there that was just negative, and I felt it affecting me. So that was something that I had to put a boundary in place for and say, I can, I can give myself maybe 30 minutes a week to just see what's going on. So I'm not completely behind and living under a rock, but don't just get so consumed in all of that it just totally, wrecks my week. So that was one. What about you? What kind of boundaries do you put in place?
So it's similar to yours. My thing, like, I love social media as well. Like, I'm all over, I'm on the internet way more than any human should be. And so it's like, even just in the past week, like I love TikTok. I love creating TikToks and giving resources, but it's like, in preparing the stuff I have for my day job and the stuff I'm doing at night, and also just like trying to focus more on my family. It's like, I just had to put my phone away. I had to set it to the side. And it's things, because then I'm like, because here's a spoiler alert. I have a terrible memory. I can't remember anything ever. And so it's like, I've always made a habit of having my phone. I'll take pictures or videos of my kids or things that are happening, stuff that we're doing. Like, we go eat somewhere, I'll take a picture of just like the environment, so that can trigger a memory in my mind and I can remember that. But I'm like, you know what? That's a small sacrifice I'm gonna have to make to be all in on these moments with my kids. I heard there's my friend Harry that I work with, and his youngest was going off to college. And I remember sitting in the room with him, and he was just like, I know a lot of you guys have younger kids. He's like, don't miss out on these moments, because you're in the grind of, I mean, we talk about the grind of teaching. There's a grind of parenting. I think we all would agree to that. It's like, sometimes you're just like tired because you're trying to train these young humans to be decent adults, And so it's like, you get kind of burned out or tired from that. It's like, what am I doing wrong if the thing that I love the most in this world is causing me to be exhausted? And I think it's because, for me, it was because I was trying to balance both of those at the same time. It's like, I'm at work and I'm all in on work, and then I get home and then I'm trying to make TikToks or YouTube videos or, Instagram or whatever. And I'm trying to make those, but then I'm balancing that with my kids and their activities and wanting to spend time with them. And so it's like, I just got to figure out a way to separate those and like set my phone to the side and just be like all in on those moments. And I've found that putting my phone off and not trying to answer a text or reply to an email or, whatever, just trying to fill in those little moments with being productive, I found that that's kind of almost made me slow down. I read a book recently. It was called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. I don't know if you read that book by
I haven't read that book, but
so I read it. The what?
It sounds like a good one.
It's really good. And he talks about this pace that we run at, because we can have information, we can have stuff to do 24/7. As educators, it's like like if you have certain jobs, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do my job and I'm going to go home. We as educators, we're invested in our job. We're invested in these young learners and trying to make them be the best they can. And we know to do that, we got to be the best we can. And so it's like, we can always do more. And it's like, the fact that we care so much can lead to burnout, because you're constantly extending past what you're capable of because you're trying to give your students all that you can. And it's like, one of the things he talks about is like, look, He recommends 1 day a week. Don't turn on your phone at all and know that's coming. Don't be like, well, okay, I'm going to turn it off after this. Like, no, I'm not going to have my phone from this time to this time. It's going to be 24 hours. It's like your day slows down and it's like the whole pace calms down because you're not filling in the gaps of your day. It's like you've got a sidewalk and you're filling it in with Elmer's glue. Like that's become our life with our cell phone. And so just setting it to the side and not bringing it into every facet of my life, especially the time I spend with my wife and my kids and people I love. And so my daughter, actually, I asked her to hold me accountable, trying to hold her accountable for not making excuses. And I told her, I was like, I'll make a deal with you. I was like, we did a pinky promise. And so she's going to work on not making excuses whenever she is doing something she shouldn't. And then I'm going to work on not having my phone on me whenever I'm spending time with them. And if one of us isn't doing that, we're just going to hold up our pinky as a reminder. And that's our pinky promise reminder. So it's kind of lame, but it's something that I'm using her, like my 8-year-old, to hold myself accountable to, slow down. And I think we all got to figure out what triggers can keep us from going too fast, too long to where we do burn out. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think being mindful is a key word. It's just that mindfulness of paying attention to what is leading to that complete exhaustion and what is burning us out. And I love that you talked about setting up a boundary with screen time, because that was something that I put in place too. So when this school year started, after teaching remotely full-time the last 9 weeks of last school year, and then going back this year, and I teach 2 class periods virtually, and then the rest of my classes are with my students. And I teach a technical class, so we're on screens all day long. So I definitely felt that burnout from screens. And so a boundary that I put in place was that when I walk in the house, I put my phone on the charger in the bedroom on the nightstand, and then I am present with my family until my kids go to bed, and I don't even look at my phone. So that helped me tremendously. That might not work for everybody, but that was just the boundary that I put in place. And we're outside or we're cooking in the kitchen and we're talking and I'm present with them instead of me looking at my phone or researching something or on Twitter or TikTok or whatever. So that helped me. Another boundary that I put in place that kind of helped me manage that exhaustion was being able to say no to requests from either other teachers or my administrators. I don't know why, but I get a lot of like, hey, will you do this for me? Hey, will you do this for me? And I love to do those things. And I guess I was always so fearful that if I said no, that they would stop asking me. And I didn't ever want them to stop asking me. So I had to learn how to say, I'm sorry, I can't this time because my plate is full, but please don't stop asking me because I love to help, with these types of things. So letting go of that fear and guilt, it's still a struggle. That is a process for me. That is something that I really struggle with because the fear and guilt tied to saying no is so strong for me because I always feel like, oh gosh, what if I miss out on some opportunity because I said no in this moment? Or what if I miss out, or what if this person struggles because I wasn't able to help them in this moment? It's not ever something that I want to have happen. But at the same time, I have to make myself a priority and I can't do everything. So trying to find that balance and then realizing that saying no to one thing means saying yes to rest and play in that time with your kids and with your family and, or even other, pursuits that inspire you a little bit more, which is feeding back into your mental wellness. So those are the things that I have done as far as boundary work goes. What about you? Do you ever have to say no, Tyler?
Well, I mean, yeah, I struggle with the same thing. It's like, I don't like disappointing people. Plus it's like I don't want to miss out. I want to be able to, I want to be able to create and do things. I love helping people. I don't know if you like the Enneagram, but I'm a 3-wing 2. So it's like I'm an achiever, so I want to try to keep doing stuff. And then it's like that is almost equal to how much I want to help people. So it's like I want to do stuff. I want to do stuff for others. I want to help everybody I can. And so it's something I'm working on. I literally just finished a book by Michael Hyatt. I think it's called Free to Focus. And he talks about that. He talks about how every human on this earth, from me to you to Jeff Bezos to everybody, everybody in every country has one thing in common, and that is we all have the same amount of time in our day. And so it's like we can't create more time in our day. And so it's like you have to choose anytime I say yes to something else, that means I'm saying no to something in here. And, you know, a lot of times they'll think, oh, that means I'm saying no to creating this or writing this book or creating this presentation or doing this PD or whatever it is. But a lot of times what we're saying no to is like our own like mental health, our own time that we get to kind of come down off of that top of that mountain. You talked earlier, you were talking earlier about how it's draining to be a teacher because it's a hard job and it's a grind. And I don't know where I heard this, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that like the number one profession of how many decisions they have to make in a day is like an air traffic controller. And my son's singing, an air traffic controller. Second is a teacher. It's like they say that teachers have to make so many decisions throughout the day because it's like they're making decisions, you know, for the whole class, then each individual student, and then their bosses. They're trying to, you know, talk to people at all these different levels at any given time. And so it's like that mentally can drain people. And I think one of the things that's important for us is like there's certain things in your life that you need to learn to say no to with grace. Like you don't want to just be like, and also with who? Like if your boss is like, hey, I need to turn in your lesson plans. You're like, no, I need to rest. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain things we have to do, but then there's a lot of stuff we have choice in, we have a say in. And so it's like, how do I help filter those out? And I think something that's really important for us, and I think it's important for lesson plans, I think it's important for teaching, you know, reflection. Not only do we need to reflect on how a lesson went, we need to reflect on, hey, at the end of the day, what parts of my day like made me like excited and energized and I felt really hyped, and what parts of my day made me super just like dread and like, because when you have dread or anxiety or anything that's like weighing on you, that wears you out, that takes away your energy, it can drain you. And so I think we need to start making lists and figuring out what gives me energy, what drains me, how do I do more of the energy stuff and less of the draining stuff. And there's some stuff that's draining that you can't get away from. Making appointments, that drains me so bad. Like, I don't know what your thing is, but making appointments and all that, I was going to get my vaccine, and I wanted the one with the single dose because I was like, I don't want COVID, but I also really hate making 2 appointments. That's a lot of appointments. And so it's like, I think that we got to figure out what drains us and what gives us energy. And so I don't know, what are your thoughts? What's something that drains you? What gives you energy? What do you find helps you, like, I don't know, kickstart through your day?
Something that drains me is having to be on the phone on hold. There is nothing.
Yes. Sally Mae. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm sorry. Early teaching career stuff.
That is extremely exhausting for me. Like if I have to handle something with I don't want to like bash a company. If I have to handle something with like our phone bill or our internet or, and I mean, like sometimes
okay, we're not sponsored by them. We're good. You're good.
Just as an example, we needed internet at our house, and we recently moved out to the country, and so it was a 3-hour phone call twice. That's exhausting. But things that energize me is definitely being outside. We recently planted like a bunch of fruit trees and a little vineyard and a berry patch. So like doing that outside with my family is great. I'm finally getting to a point with my high school students where they're relaxed and we're having fun and they're good. And that is my love language. Like when we can connect, it's been such a challenge with the masks to connect with them because I feel like they can't see this, you know? So, and then I can't see their expressions either. So it's so hard to connect, but yes, human connection is definitely energizing. And when that can happen in my classroom while I'm teaching, it makes it so much more fun and enjoyable. And I think that may have been something that led to extra stress and exhaustion this year for teachers because you're not able to read, you know, from here down on students. So you're not picking up on what are you understanding? What are you not understanding? Is this resonating with you? Is it not, you know? So.
What up? Welcome back. Hey, Tyler here. How are you doing? How are you feeling? In the chat, let's do emoji check. And how are you feeling right now? Have you learned? Oh, no. To this point, what is something that you are going to try in your classroom or implement that you might not have wanted to, an hour or two ago? What is something you're wanting to implement in your classroom? Put that in the chat right now. I'd love to see it. I know the other people in the chat would love to see it. I know it'd be some great input. So throw that in the chat and give you, and then you can also copy paste and put in your notes, just so you don't forget. Make sure everything you're doing, you're keeping notes of, keep links to it, all of it, because I want you guys to be able to access and actually make your classroom better. I've sat through enough PDs in my life, professional development in my life, that I don't remember one thing from. I pray that you walk through this. I am hoping that you get something out of this training that you can take and use, once a day, once a week, once a year, once a decade, something that you use and implement, whether it's a mindset or a skill set or just any type of framework to build your classroom and make things better. Okay? Speaking of making things better, making ourselves better, I do want to give you, some thoughts on something that I offer, a community that we have at Tarver Academy that I think could add you a ton of value. It could help you get better all year. Because right now we're getting better with PD, with professional development. Hopefully you're getting better right now. This summer you're gonna hopefully glean some information, some knowledge, some experience, and you're gonna get a little bit better. I want us to get better all year. I want us to get better all throughout the year. And here's the thing with teachers. We do not have time to go sit through a 6-hour professional development once a week. So what I did was I created a community called Tarver Academy. And it was based on teachers telling me they wanted resources. They wanted a continuation of these trainings, of templates, of resources. They wanted to be handed to them, because if you go out and search for it, you're gonna find random stuff. They wanted stuff that could be applied to their classroom, that they can sit there, bite-sized professional development for busy teachers. That's Tarver Academy on a roll. And I would love for you to join if you want to. If you don't have to, don't pay for it. It's not very expensive at all, but I don't want you to have to pay for it. I would rather you use your district's professional development money. So if you want, have them go in, order that for you. Hey, here's the deal. Okay, let me be real with you. So you are signed up for the premium summer PD. Okay, either you signed up for it yourself, your principal, your administrator signed you up for it, or your district or your co-op. There were some amazing co-ops, districts that jumped in and realized that this could add value and flexibility, because they're offering 3 different sessions throughout the summer. You have flexibility to watch from home, or maybe you're watching with a group, maybe you're watching in your classroom, wherever you're watching from. They wanted you to add that value, and I wanted to give you a huge discount on the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. This is just for this summer, and it's just for the people that are on the premium watches, okay? And so the premium watches, the premium PD, okay? And so if you're watching this, you're here, you're on it, okay? So what you can do is you can sign up at tarveracademy.com/honor roll, and I want you to use this promo code. When you sign up, use this promo code. It's gonna cut in half. And it's one time for the full year, and it's gonna cut in half. Remember, use your district money if you can. So just write the promo code down, or put it in there and then get reimbursed, whatever you need to do. The promo code is premium, because you've signed up for the premium summer PD, and so I want to give you half off. So what that is essentially, you or your district or your co-op or your building paid for the summer PD, and so what it is, you get half off for these honor roll resources that come to you every week for the entire year. They essentially, it paid for more than, it paid for half of this just because they signed you up for it, or you signed up for it. So it's actually a better deal than if you just straight up bought it. But you'll get access to these trainings anytime you want throughout the entire year, plus anything new. I'm gonna send you something every single week to help make you better in your classroom, because when you get better, your students get better. In the email, every week, you're gonna get either a template, a resource, you're gonna get a short PD video, professional development, a training to show you how to do something you might not know how to do, or reinforce something you're maybe already trying. You're gonna get something that makes you better every week, plus some quick tips, links to some other things, and also you can ask me questions. I have a mailbag where you get to ask questions, and that's the list I'm gonna pick from first. I wanna help you guys. If I don't know how to do it, I'll do the research for you. I'll build, you're like, oh, I really wish I had a digital interactive notebook. Guess what I'll do? I'll go in and I'll build digital interactive notebooks, and I'll give you the template. You don't have to pay teachers. You don't have to go in and throw the money at anything. I wanna just hand it to you, and I wanna do trainings for you to help you. So if you wanna join that community, I think it's super helpful, and it's essentially where I become the tech facilitator for you. It's Netflix for teacher resources, and I would love for you to join and jump on that. So if you want, go there. It's tarveracademy.com/honor roll, and you can sign up for that. And I think it's just going to be a huge. It's going to be a huge help to teachers throughout the year who have a lot going on and not a lot of time, extra time to go out and do it. It's like as teachers, they always give you more stuff to do, but they don't give you like, oh, here's like an extra 3 hours a day to go out and do whatever it is you're going to do. So if you want to sign up for that, you can. I hope you've used this time also to use the restroom. So if you're just getting back using the restroom, guess what? We've just been talking about Tarver Academy Honor Roll. No big deal. But I'm going to give you guys time to go do that and get a snack if you need it. Whatever you need to do, we're about to kick back into it. We're about to jump back in it. We're going to fall back into the gap. Fall into the gap. Fall into the gap. Man, do y'all remember that? That was a good campaign. That was memorable. Wasn't it? Memorable? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're about to get started. We'll get started here very soon, and we're gonna jump back in. We're gonna keep learning. All right, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. We're still doing this. In the chat, here we go. In the chat, I want you to tell me the name. Okay, ooh, don't say that. I was gonna say, tell me the name of, you know what? You can do that. Tell me the name of a teacher who made an impact on you and what they did. Why did they have an impact on you? In the chat, what name of a teacher or an educator that had an impact on you and what they did to have an impact. It was either the way they treated you, the way they ran their class, or the way they inspired you, or just the way they had structure maybe. They were reliable, they were consistent. I would love to hear in the chat, name of a teacher that motivated you as a student or as another teacher and what they did. So let's throw that in the chat and we're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it. We're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it like a pogo stick. See that? See what I did there? Nope. Okay. All right. Let's get going.
But something else that I wanted to talk about is how to take a guilt-free mental health day. Because I don't know about you, but I have recently fallen in love with mental health days and I don't feel guilty about taking them anymore. I used to never take a sick day for myself unless I was like with a fever of 105 and could not get out of bed, right? But mental health days are so good for you. And I told myself that I would allow myself to have one each semester of this school year. And it has honestly been the best thing ever. And I put some things in place to kind of help myself get over having guilt around that and stress and anxiety about taking a mental health day. Because a couple of things that would stress me out about taking a day for myself would be like, what if somebody sees me out in public, right? Or I have to write sub plans and that's exhausting. That's just more work. It's more work than it's worth. So those were my two biggest hurdles to get over. So I put some things in place. Number one was to schedule it in advance and pick a day when I knew that the sub plans would need to be minimal. Like if we have a built-in review day, or if we have ongoing projects and the kids already know what they're supposed to be doing, I've already introduced it, they're just working on it independently, and maybe I can respond to them through email, then that's a day that I can take. And if I need to pre-record anything, I can just plan it weeks in advance, record any sort of instructional videos that I need to, and they are good to go. Another thing that I did was make a doctor's appointment on that day. So I always need to go to the eye doctor or the dentist. I mean, like I put that stuff off indefinitely forever because it's just not fun. Like you said, making appointments is not fun, and going to them and sitting in the waiting room, it's not fun, but it's important. So I'll always just like make a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, and then I'll just take the afternoon for myself. I'll set that appointment early in the morning. So I drop off my kids, go to my eye doctor appointment or dentist appointment or whatever. And then the rest of the day is mine. And I don't have to feel guilty about being out in public because I went to the doctor's office, you know, for some reason for me, that justifies it. I went to the doctor's office. I have my note if you need to see it, you know, which nobody cares probably, you know, that I'm out in public on a school day, but that gave me guilt and fear, and I felt bad about it. But what happens on those days is I get to do things that I enjoy alone, and it's so restorative for me. And it's just twice a year, and I have found for it to be very beneficial. What about you? How do you feel about mental health days?
I think it's a fantastic idea. It's like, it's hard for me because I always think of all the things that I need to do. And that's like, you know, when I became an administrator, I wrote 3 books as in my 5 years as a teacher, a classroom teacher. And then I wrote 0 for 13 years as an administrator. So it's like, cause there's always more. Like when I was a teacher, I was like, okay, I feel good about tomorrow. So I'm good. I'm going to take a few minutes on my prep period to like kind of relax or zone out or write something or whatever. And then it's like whenever, I became administrator, it's like any free gaps I had was filled up with, oh, I need to do this or I got to do this. It was like I feel like a firefighter. I'm always putting out fires and then trying to back it up with stuff I need to do. And so I think the thing that I've done that's been so helpful for me, instead of taking like a full day, I'll do pockets of time. And so it's like, I'll schedule in the morning, I'm going to work on this. And then, you know what? I'm going to take 1 hour where I spend time with somebody who gives me energy or that, I enjoy at a place I like to eat. We're going to go have lunch and it's going to be fun for me. And then I'm going to come back and finish my day doing this. Or it's like, I'll do a pocket from like 4 to 8 p.m. I'm going to go out and do this with no interruptions, no distractions, nothing else. And so it's like, mine might not be 24 hours. It'll be a pocket of 2 hours or 1 hour or 6 hours, try to find those moments whenever I can optimize my time. And then what it does is it's like have you ever seen in Armageddon? No, was it Armageddon where they slingshot around the moon or around the asteroid? Oh yeah, that's right. They were going to slingshot around the moon and then land on the asteroid. And so it's like, we're going to slingshot around the moon. I like to think like these moments of energy is like the slingshot to get me through the other stuff that doesn't give me energy. So it's like, I'm going to do this stuff. Like I'm going to do a lot of work, do this. I'm going to do some energy and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to land on the asteroid. I'm going to Bruce Willis and save the world. You know what I mean? And so, that's kind of where I am on things that I do. And so like those chunks of time.
I love that approach to where you're like rewarding yourself for the hard things that you've just done. If I can get through this, if I can knock out this task, then I'm going to reward myself with an hour of whatever, taking my kids to get ice cream or just disconnecting from that for a minute. That is a very healthy approach. What I tend to do is procrastinate on those things, and it's not good. I'm working on it, but I'll procrastinate on those hard tasks instead of if I would set that goal for myself. Okay, let's just do 2 hours of work on this. I don't have to finish it, but I can at least start. Let's just start. Spend 2 hours on that, focus on it, and then go do something fun as a reward for getting through that. So yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's really great.
Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. I think yours is brilliant too, Lindsay. Thank you. That's awesome.
So something else that I saw you doing, do you remember when we were at ISTE back in the good old days in 2019 when we got to go to conferences?
Yes.
You had a journal and it was so inspiring because I struggle with this. And you set goals for the day.
Oh yeah.
Or the week. And then that was like, you just set like 2 or 3 things. It wasn't extensive either. It was, you still do it? Do you still do it?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
That's the Michael Hyatt. He calls it the free focus planner, I think is what it's called. Full focus planner. And so, yeah, sorry, continue. I mean to cut you off.
No, I love that approach of setting goals for yourself for that day or either for that week, and then you accomplish them and then you're done. Right. And you just give yourself some free time to either go connect with people or to go outside and play with your kids or to put the phone down and walk away from it for a little bit. And I love that. I thought that was so admirable.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So it's just, I don't know if you can see it. I might be, no, well, good. Not focused. Okay. So yeah, you've got big 3 right here. 3 things you want to do, other stuff you'd like to do. You can plan out your day. This is not my day. I had more than, this is a blank day. I haven't gotten here yet, but I've done more than that today. But yeah, I actually made a Google Slides template of this that teachers can use or share with their students. So I'll link to that somewhere, or it's linked in my Instagram bio if you want it. And so y'all can have that. I'll put the link on here. But yeah, I think finding a way to organize, and it's like, you think through like the night, he always recommends doing it like the night before, the beginning of the week, think through like, what are 3 things I can do today? And then go to bed feeling like I'm good. I've accomplished it. Like I'm not stressed about things I didn't do. I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. doing the stuff I need to get done. Do those things first and then work on those minor tasks, things you don't have to have done immediately. And so thank you for saying that. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's helpful for me. It's helpful for me because there's so much I want to do. It's very easy for me to get distracted by the shiny new thing that I'm like, oh, I want to do that, or I want to do that. Or I look, I'm like, oh, there's an email. And I look up, it's 2 hours. I'm still checking emails. You know what I mean? And so it's like, helps me stay focused on my day. And I can't do it unless I set my phone across the room, like out of arm's reach, because my natural instincts pick it up and check and do this. And I look up and I've been checking texts for however long. And I've done this and done this. And so it's, I don't know. I think that finding your flow of how you get stuff done is super helpful to get and be more productive, and also just not stress yourself out over things that you could have gotten done first over the things that aren't as important to you. So
yeah, Totally. And I like that you prioritize your tasks for the day. Because a lot of times what I used to do was I would sit down and say, what are all the things that I want to accomplish today? Here's what I need to accomplish today. And it would be a mile long, right? But I love this simplified approach to, we're just going to prioritize. What are the, just 3 things. You have to limit it to 3 achievable things on that list for today. And then things that you would like to do if you get those things done. I love that so much. I think it makes it accessible, because my to-do list most of the time is not accessible, and it ends up being so overwhelming that I just feel defeated at the end of the day when I can't get it done. So that's not healthy, and I need to stop doing that.
You're not the only one. I have the planner and I still do it sometimes. I'm like, why didn't I do that first? I know that's the most important thing in my day, but I look up and I'm like, what? I know I was busy the whole time. What was I doing? Like, when I could have been doing this, and now I have to stay up and do this. And so, yeah, I think it's do that stuff first, and then the rest of your day, get done what you can done. I'll tell you one thing. This is something an administrator taught me, Doug Quinn, great administrator, great leader. And he told me when I became a principal, he was like, when you get to the end of your day and it's 4:30 or 5, and you're sitting there thinking, oh, I could do this, this, and this. Guess what? It'll be there tomorrow. It's waiting on you tomorrow morning. You can do it then. Go home, because, and I thought about this, 3 months from now, I'm not going to remember why I stayed till 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm not going to remember that. I'll have gotten it done. It's just like, don't let that eat into your own time. I think there's a big push of this on TikTok and on social media. It's like, teachers are human beings too. Like, we are not these robots who sacrifice their entire life to their profession. Yes, we give a lot to our profession. Yes, we are committed and we want to make a difference, but also we are people and we are worth investing in ourselves as well. And I think with our time, it's a very a basic way that we cut out a lot of times when we need to lean in and protect that time. So
absolutely. I mean, I have definitely stayed at school past 7 p.m. on numerous occasions, and then come home and work until 3 a.m. I mean, it's so bad. And I would still think of things that I could have been doing or should have been doing. It never ends. And I think the trick too is making that list and giving yourself grace if you can't get it done, because it would keep me up at night. And I had to be very intentional about saying, we're going to let that go. We didn't get that done today, and it's okay. And we'll get it done tomorrow. Because yeah, I think that is key. Just understanding that it is going to be okay if it doesn't all get done. So, and not sit there and just stress out over what you weren't able to accomplish. Because I think protecting your time is super important.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Wow, this was so good. So good. So great. So we're going to do a break right now. If you need to go use the restroom, grab something to drink, get a snack, whatever you need to do, you can go do that. Make a call. I need to make a call. I got a text message. I got a call. If you need to do that, go for it. I'm going to show some videos on the screen that hopefully will add you value in case you stick around, get your notes together, maybe record some stuff you've learned so far, reflect. But we're going to throw some stuff on the screen. There's a timer on the screen to show you how long you have till we jump back in to what we are learning. So keep an eye on that, and I'll see you guys here in a minute. Here we go. Okay, let's go. Hey, Finn, say hi. Hi. So today I want to show you how to make a sick looking resume super easy on Canva. There's a lot more you can do, but this is a super easy way. And I just got done helping some of my college students do this for jobs they're applying for. You ready, Fennec? Okay. So go to canva.com. If you don't have an account, they have free accounts. I've got it linked in my bio for you to sign up. So go in there, and then the search up here in Canva is just sick. Type in resume. It's going to give you all these templates you can start from if you want. Oh my goodness, look at the color on that. That's popping. You just fill in your stuff, put it in there, drag, like literally you can just delete those words and put the new words in. It's just super easy. Don't forget, like, the best part is you can do photos and then you can delete the background. Watch this. Hit effects and then just hit that top one, background remover. Watch this. Bam, look at that. Blah. I'm sorry, I just get hyped about Canva. By the way, we're doing a session at my summer virtual PD for free. Link in my bio if you want. This is a fantastic question and a difficult question. So here's the sitch. Google has not solved that yet. Now they will, because I got faith that can I call them the Googs? I just did. Sorry, not sorry. I got faith that they will add a feature that figures this out. I just know it. Within the year, I would bet a lot of money they will. But for now, what a lot of people want to do is if they use the grade book, what they do is they do it in 9-week increments, okay? And then you just archive that 9 weeks for that class. Then you just add students back at the beginning of the 9 weeks and it's good to go. A little bit annoying, but not terrible. And it allows the grades to be accurate because that is a situation you never want to delete assignments. I had to tell my mom that. She was like, I'm just going to delete my assignments. I was like, just don't do that because then I'll make you the worst teacher ever. It's not true. She's great. She's whatever. Now, if you don't use the gradebook in Google, you have to use something else that the state makes you use or whatever. Then the world is your oyster. Forgot the saying. What up? How are you? Are you doing good? Are you having a good day? Do you ever wish that when you're in your email, it kind of like consolidated for you to where you could see like calendar events or some like tasks or something? I got you, fam. So I'm in my Gmail right here. If you look to the right side of your Gmail, what is this? Check this. You can hit this, go see your calendar. I have more than that. It's a burner account. Then you can go in here, go to Google Keep. You can import stuff from Google Keep. You can also roll into a task list. You can have to-do lists. Test email. Okay, yeah, like, subscribe. I mean, I'll just go ahead and like, subscribe. You can put your to-do list all over here. You can even import stuff from emails into this. Watch, I can just take this. I can be like, click and drag and drop. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go. Look at that. Bam! Bam! You can also pull up your contacts. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, come on now. That's it. All directly from your Gmail. Keep it all on one page. Stay organized. Stay sweet. Stay classy. What? You're not using Google Voice, you need to be, and I'll tell you why. Do you ever get those parents that call and you're like, okay, I need proof that this conversation actually happened? Oh, hello, parent of one of my students who is usually aggravated. Oh, let me tell you something. Could you hold on 1 second?
This call is now being recorded.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I think we're all trying here. Then whenever you hang up, it's going to email that audio transcript directly to your email. So if you start every phone call you receive from students, parents, or whoever, you'll always have documentation of how that conversation went down. It's just really good to have your own back. From a former principal, straight up, it's always good to have documentation. If you want, I made a shortcut linked in my bio if you want to download the app on Apple. Also, Google Voice is completely free. It's free. Download the app on your phone. Follow for more tips and tricks. Don't miss out on the goodness. Public service announcement for all people using Google Drive. If your Google Drive desktop looks like this, that is not correct. Click on the 3 lines, looks like a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, and make it look like this. This is the way it should look on a desktop. Prove me wrong.
So another strategy that I put into place was to plan time or carve out time for creative pursuits that I enjoy that are not related to my work in any way. So for me, I've been getting into woodworking and gardening. So those are the 2 things that I've been diving into. Of course, I love to paint and all of those things, but at one time I was an art teacher and I was a little burnt out on painting because I painted all day with kids. So I needed something else to do at home that wasn't the same thing that I was doing all day with kids. And I used to love creating things on a computer, but now I create things on a computer with kids all day long. So I needed something that was very hands-on and tactile that I could disconnect from a screen. So for me, what my creative pursuits have been that met that need for me over time has changed and morphed depending on what I needed in that time. So, but I think planning out time for creative pursuits for yourself is so important because I think there's a lot of processing and healing that can happen in those times. I think creating art or any sort of creative pursuit just opens itself up to that. There's some ADEs that wrote a book or a series of books. I think they have a website called Create to Cope. Have you seen that? And it is like an ongoing series of books that they publish of creative activities that you can do on iPad to cope through stressful times. And I think it's designed for students and teachers, which is really, really cool, I think. But what about you? How do you feel about creative pursuits?
Yeah, I think it's important. It's the thing that gives us energy, or it's a thing that's like almost like monotonous where we like kind of chill out. I know some people, it's like, hey, I just like to flip through TikTok for an hour at night, and that's how I chill out, or I like to flip through Instagram, and it's like that's how I calm down. I know that for me, for a while, like TikTok was like I'll just roll through and watch TikTok for like an hour before I go to bed, and then honestly though, I start thinking like, okay, I want to make a TikTok on this, or I want to do this. It ignited other things I wanted to do on it. So I love things. Me, like I don't have a ton of hobbies. I did recently just get into like sports cards. And so I was into that when I was a kid, and now I'm like back into it. There we go. There's one right there. There's Steph Curry, rookie card. He's doing really well. And so like these are all sports cards things, and I've kind of been into that. And I like goof around, talk to my buddies about it. They're into it, and it's just fun. And my kids got into it, and so we make little videos, and it's just stuff that's fun for us to go in and do and collect and I don't know, talk about. And so it gives me an avenue where I'm not just always talking about work and everything I do. And so it's like, here's something that I can chat about that's not so serious. It's not a big deal. It's just kind of like they call it a hobby. And I guess I could call it a hobby now. Now I'm a hobby guy. What do you know? Got hobbies now. I don't know. In the chat, let us know, what are some hobbies, some things that you enjoy, creative pursuits that you do that, either relax you or calm you or just help you kind of zone out after a very, intense, highly, energy driven job where you have to always kind of be on to run everything. So what's some things that you guys do? Let us know in the chat. So awesome. Lindsay, any other thoughts? Anything you got?
Yes. So one last big question. As a school administrator, how do you feel leaders of schools can create school cultures that promote good mental health for teachers?
That's good. That's a good question. Okay, let me see if I can toss that on there. Bam. So from school leader standpoint, how can administrators create school cultures that promote good mental health for teachers? Okay. So I know I've seen this a lot on social media. Like people are like, well, administrators that are just like, be happy, be positive, blah, blah. I could probably be guilty of that. I know. Like I'm just like, hey guys, it's okay. We're good. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty positive person. But here's the thing. The thing as an administrator you have to learn is you have to learn your people. Okay. And I think we know this as teachers, we got to learn our students. And so whether you're a teacher learning your students or you're an administrator learning your teachers, we have to learn how our teachers operate, whether it's through like Enneagrams or surveys or whatever it is that you're trying to figure out, how they're wired. That's going to help you figure out how you can help them operate at their healthiest. What can I do? How clear can I be? How can I communicate? How much time can I give? The more you understand this, the more you can be there for them. And it's like, not everybody's the same. Like what is my healthy may not be your healthy, may not be whoever's watching this, they're healthy. Like we have to all figure that out. And I think the job as a leader, whether it's a leader of a classroom or leader of a school or leader of a district, is to figure out what gives my people energy, what is a healthy place, and also be approachable. I think that is super important for administrators. A lot of administrators are not approachable. Like their teachers don't feel like they can walk up to them and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Or I'm being vulnerable. This is where I'm at, or this is what I'm struggling with, without feeling like they're being judged or it's on their evaluation or whatever. Like, oh, they're not going to give me any work, or they ignore them for a month because they're afraid they're stressed out. Like, you have to be approachable as an administrator so that you can get the truth and like the real feelings from your teachers so that you can best help them. Because we can't serve people if all we're doing is trying to interpret how we think they are. Like we have to have it to where they feel comfortable telling us where they are. And that's students and teachers. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are some things that you think?
Absolutely. Being approachable. And I think having grace for teachers when they get overwhelmed and stressed out, and understand that isn't who they are all the time. It's temporary, and it'll get better. But yeah, I think as a leader of even a classroom, that's pretty much the extent of my leadership experience. But, I try to keep a close eye on my students. And I think the key word is differentiation. Like I build those relationships with them, and how I approach one student is going to look very different from how I approach the student that sits next to them. And I think as an administrator, if you approached leadership like that, that would be transformational, just understanding that leadership needs to be differentiated too, just like your teaching is. And then I think too, maybe from what I see my school administrators doing, I think time is probably an obstacle in that, because our administrators are so busy. Their jobs are huge. So how do you manage your time to where you have time to get to know those teachers? Like our high school campus is just absolutely huge. And then they've got all these discipline problems, and they're trying to build relationships with these kids, and keep them out of trouble, make sure they graduate and get off to a good start. So how do you make time for your teachers and make sure that you're meeting. I love the Enneagram. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I did take a test. I am a 4 wing 3, so highly emotional, but also very driven. So I'm not sure if that's good or not.
I think it's good. I think they're all good as long as you're healthy in it. You know, I think they're all good, or they can all be bad depending on if you're not healthy. So I think, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
I think you're right. I think it's got to be. What was the question again? I'm sorry. My dog was hitting the door handle and it threw me off in the middle of it.
We were
My dog is
talking
going to use the restroom.
We were talking about getting to know teachers as individuals, but also the struggle of making time and then figuring out ways to differentiate, because that's a whole job in itself, you know? And so feasibly, how do you do that in a building full of teachers and students?
You're right. It's like when you become an administrator, you have like, your time is this. And so what I've always found is, one, you have to learn to automate what you can automate. And so if you're going to spend time, if I'm an administrator, what I'm going to do all summer and all year is try to figure out, okay, what can I automate? What does not need me to look at it or process it or build it or us to input it? What can be done and what steps can I skip to free up more time? Because if you're doing all that time doing all these mundane tasks, if you can free that time up, it gives you time to go and be in the classroom or talk to teachers or have meetings or spend time with them or go get them a Sonic drink and chat with them. You know, it gives you the time to do that if you can pull that time away from the stuff that you don't have to do. And that's one way to do is automate it with technology. Or the second way is to trust people that you work with. When you have an assistant principal, trust them. Trust that they can handle this situation without you being in the room. That's why you have the assistant principal there, is so you don't have to be in there. Yes, sometimes you have to be in there for accountability, but a lot of times try to trust them to do it and take care of it. So it's not two of you doing one job. When you're like certain teachers, too often we as administrators, we want it a certain way so we can accidentally micromanage. And when you do that, you have now taken two people's time and made it worth one person's time. And you've tried to overlap your time in there. You've got to trust people. Yes, you've got to correct and guide and help your teachers where you need to, but you don't need to spend your time doubling up on what they're doing. And I think if we do that, we start trusting and start handing off those roles and responsibilities. Delegating is another term for it. Once we start letting people actually do their jobs and trust them as professionals, it's going to open us up. One, it helps that approachable because they trust us, because they can learn that we trust them, and which helps them trust us. But also it frees you up to be able to do the things you need to do and spend the time doing that you know are important. But it's easy to push back, like getting to know your teachers, because you have to call this parent or meet with this student or do this or submit this form or report this. So I think that's it. You just got to find out ways to free up your time, either through technology or through delegation or trusting your people.
I think we need a whole session on that, Tyler. How to automate mundane tasks. What strategies did you put into place? Because that would be so beneficial. Yeah. I mean, I look at our administrators and they're always busy. Like you can be standing there having a conversation with them and someone calls them on the walkie-talkie at least 2 or 3 times, you know, can you meet me in building 17? Can you meet me over here? You know, we've got a kid with a vape, or we've got, you know, it's just crazy. They're constantly pulled in all these different directions. And I'm just assuming, just from looking in from the outside, that it's got to be hard. It's got to be a challenge. So
it is. And we are doing a session on Autocrat, which is an add-on I recommend for everybody that needs to automate things. So, and I think I have a Google session for administrators, and that's all. Like pretty much everything I do in there is like, here's how you can save some time, because
how to work smarter, not harder.
How to work. Yeah. How to not even have to work smarter, because it's doing it for you. There are still automations from when I was at Bauxite that are still running. They run in the background and nobody has to do them, because I spent a couple hours creating a program that automates. And so you don't have to do it. And so it's saving people time.
You're the bomb. That is brilliant. That is absolutely crazy.
There's probably a bunch of stuff they've quit doing because it wasn't very good that I created, but I know there's at least a couple still there. So I'm excited for that. Oh, Lindsay, any other thoughts, any final thoughts, things you'd like to say to anybody, encourage anybody, anything at all?
I think the biggest thing is just knowing that having, you know, intentional wellness or good mental health as a teacher is a journey, and recognizing that it's a process. Again, for me, I fail at this all the time. These are just some things that I'm trying to put in place to be better at this so that I don't experience that burnout. But yeah, thank you so much for letting me share part of my journey with you and everyone else. This has been so fun. It's been kind of a fun break from iPad. I feel like I talk about iPad all the time. This was different. I didn't even show an iPad today. I didn't talk about Apple at all. So
get the quota. Bam. We just flash it twice. We're good.
Just flash one across the screen.
Yeah. We'll just show you guys how to use Notability. Thank you guys for doing it. So no, thank you so much, Lindsay. You're wonderful. You're an excellent teacher and a great person. And I just really appreciate your time and your thoughts and your experience on this. And so appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I hope you got something out of it. I hope you understood at least that other people are going through this too. You're not alone on this journey. And yes, it's a lot of hard work. It's very much worth it, but it is hard work. And I appreciate everything that you guys do and all the lives you're impacting and the way you're making the world a better place. I said it in a weird voice, but I meant every word of it. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
We did it. We did it. We learned something. Did you learn something today? In the chat, I want you to put the thing that you are taking away from today. Put one thing in the chat right now that you have learned or that you have realized or that's reinforced something you think. Put that one that I like to call this the golden nugget. Put the golden nugget from today in the chat. And that way, if somebody's missed it or they checked in, go ahead and you guys can copy paste what other people put. If there's some advice, you can screenshot it. Get this. I want you to throw in the best thing you learned today. It's like a best of highlight reel for your favorite thing that happened during this training. Toss that in the chat right now so we can share and grow together. Okay, we're about to do the evaluation. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you want access to this entire training at any time throughout the year, not just these live broadcasts, you can join the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. Why'd I do this? Here goes. Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's like Netflix for teachers. Netflix for teachers, because you have resources, you have templates, you have PDs, trainings. It's literally like a library of trainings, and then access to ask questions, to request resources that I build and send out to teachers all around the world. So tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to join the greatest community on the planet. And I'm not biased at all. I mean, all of us, you're on the honor roll. You want to be on the honor roll? Sick. Let's all be on the honor roll. And I'm a dean, so keep me on the dean's list. Hey, that works. Okay. All right. Now it's time for your evaluation. I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought for this, but also I'm going to send you a certificate saying that you sat through this training. You put in the time. You wanted to learn. You wanted to grow. You wanted to get better. This is going to be a certificate that I'm going to email to you. What I need you to do is I need you to go to the link on the screen or hover over the QR code with your phone. Get your phone out, hover over it. It's going to ask you a few questions. If you don't get this, it means that you put your email address in wrong. Make sure, please do not rush this. Type your email address in correctly. Please, I'm begging you, because if not, you're going to email me, I never got my certificate. It's because your email address is wrong. Type in your email address correctly, fill it out, fill out your name, make sure you capitalize, make it look good, because it's going to fill in to the certificate from this. So I need you to put this in correctly, please. Okay, go there. We're going to walk you through it. Go into this, click on the link, or you can't click on the link because it's on a video. Type in the link on your computer or type it in on your phone or whatever device you have. Scan the QR code, fill it out. I'm going to send you a certificate with a timestamp on it saying what time you ended. You have proof from earlier if you sent in to the other link of what time you started. And then you also got your notes and all the stuff you've learned, your screenshots, all of that to show your administrator or whoever, your spouse. You show your friends, show people on the streets, all the learning that you did. You can frame that certificate. I think we're all getting framed. You get a frame, I'm getting framed. I'm gonna put it up on my shelf. I got too much stuff on my shelf already. So look at this, Lonzo Ball rookie card. If you got any, by the way, you got any basketball cards you want to sell? Hit me up. I've been slightly obsessed with basketball cards, and I apologize for bringing it up. Look at this. This is all Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's the GOAT. Everybody says it. Who's in the chat? Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I'd love to know. If it's Lonzo Ball, it's quite the coincidence because I had it sitting on my desk. If not, it's probably this guy. Probably this guy right here. See that guy? That's Michael Jordan. No big deal. It's whatever. Don't like to brag about it. I mean, it's not that expensive, that card. But if you got any cards you want to sell, holler at me. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stalling so you guys can fill out your evaluation. All right. Y'all feel good? I'm going to leave this on the screen for you for a little while in case you had to step out for a second. I'm going to leave this up. Thank you again so much for your attention and your time and everything that you put into learning and growing with us today. I'm Tyler. This is Tarver Academy.
Let's learn to have fun. See you guys later.
Bye.